Here's what's trending from the iHeart Sports Network, presented by iHeartAdvertising.com. The Padres and Diamondbacks are getting set for Game 2 of their series in Arizona. It's going to be Randy Vasquez going for the Friars and Eduardo Rodriguez going for Arizona. First pitch tonight is at 6:40. Got a couple big NFL signings today. The Falcons and running back Bijan Robinson agreed on a 3-year extension worth $75 million. 51 of that's guaranteed. That makes him the highest paid running back in NFL history. And then the Ravens and wide receiver Zay Flowers agreed on a 4-year extension worth $140 million. 108 of that is guaranteed. College football news. The college football preseason coaches poll came out today. Ohio State was number 1, followed by Oregon. Georgia, Texas, and Notre Dame round out the top 5. Run a business and not thinking about radio? Think again, because people are listening to radio more today than they did 20 years ago. And only iHeartRadio connects with more Americans than TV, digital, and even social. Learn how radio can help your business. Call 844-844-iHeart.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, we are back. John and Alan, Schaefer and Sliwa, Tuesday afternoon. Good to see you, my friend.
Good to see you, too. I don't think I'm done with the whole deadline stuff.
Well, it's coming. There's going to be another one. It's like Christmas.
I want to stretch this thing out as much as possible. Is there any redos if things aren't going as planned?
There used to be. The waiver deadline.
Yeah.
They got rid of it.
Why do we, 4 or 5 hours later after that? I mean, I watched one of the most boring Padre games I've seen all season.
So predictable. You said that too, all the attention on the deadline. What about the series? And then they lay an egg.
Well,
in game 1.
In a moment of a couple of hours, we're looking here and Philly's down 3-0. You get Arizona tonight.
Oh, I know.
Padres might be in a position where they're tied for both. Obviously those final couple of spots. That changed pretty quick.
Dude, they got no results. All those teams that are chasing them won. Phillies won. Diamondbacks, of course, won against San Diego. They were probably due for a night like last night. We're going to start the show with a lack of an update on Nick Pivetta, who pitched today in Lake Elsinore, beginning a rehab. Joe Musgrove made a rehab outing, went 2 innings, left healthy. Thankfully, we can hear from Musgrove coming up at some point during the show. Nick Pivetta, for whatever reason, we're still waiting on an explanation as to what played out. Left the mound down in his second inning of work with 2 outs and 2 strikes on a batter. He literally walked off the mound, jogged off the mound, beelined off the mound into the dugout. That was at about 11:45 or 11:50 a.m. We haven't seen any actual explanation or reporting on it over the last 3 hours. The initial thought are, well, he must have left due to injury, but we haven't seen anything to follow up on that.
Yeah, I think we're all kind of waiting on pins and needles. And man, I feel, listen, here's what makes it even more odd. It was a 2-2 count with 2 outs, threw the pitch, didn't necessarily grimace, right? I mean, who knows what's going on through. I'm not going to try to, predict here. Started walking off of the mound, kind of stopped for a second, almost as if, when the ump comes to you when you're walking off, they check your glove. Yeah, they check the glove and everything else, but there was no ump there.
Nope.
And then just kind of kept walking towards the dugout, and then that was it. They haven't seen anything since. But obviously, because, Nick Pivetta and Joe Musgrove, this is such a important day for both of those guys because they are pitching, and they are going to this is going to be one of our first chances to see them out there, see how they feel, how they look, and everything else. Musgrove did it a little bit earlier. We'll get into Musgrove. But the Pivetta thing, it's just not a good feeling. And if it is what I think it is, and what at least it looks like, as if he had a setback, you just feel incredibly bad for the ace of the San Diego Padres to start the season and never found a way. Obviously, only had 4 starts. I mean, I don't want to jump to conclusion, but it's impossible not to jump to conclusion.
Yeah, I mean, it's very easy to jump to conclusion, but I need to hear from Nick Pivetta or a reporter. You know what I mean? Because it's such an odd situation. I'll give you the example why I say it's odd. To your point, it's a 2-2 pitch that looked like a strike.
Yes, it did.
It was kind of down the heart of the plate, and he starts walking off as if to maybe sell the pitch or did he walk off because he knew he was hurt? And we've heard nothing. I will say this is a good thing that Preller addressed his rotation, as we've speculated on for weeks, because if you didn't add Robbie Ray and Casey Mize, you'd be in maybe even more of a world of trouble, because we were never fully willing to say that we're counting on both Pivetta and Musgrove. We'd walk that line. What are you going to get from them? Cautiously optimistic, hopeful. But I think the organization felt the same way based on the moves. Robbie Ray and Casey Mize were significant additions to the rotation. We would love to see Musgrove and Pivetta back, but it was never a guarantee. And now we'll see what happens on the other side of their first rehab outings of the year, essentially.
Yeah, I think every time we talked to AC and every time we got, some type of update in regards to both Pivetta and Musgrove, this is prior to the trade deadline, the conversation was more about they think one of these guys might be available to come back, and they're both going to try, and we're going to find out, they're going to push themselves and see if they're able to be a part of the team. There was nothing left to wait for. So either you were going to try this or you're out of time. So I think the timetable of both of those players coming out today, there was a purpose for it. It wasn't because they probably both woke up and said, hey, I feel great today. It was because this is it. So either if you're going to have an opportunity to pitch at any point this season, it has to come now. I did think the trade deadline, obviously going out and getting 2 starters, I don't know how much they could have depended on both of those guys. Maybe they're depending on one of those guys. But even if Joe Musgrove and Nick Pivetta were to come back, you have no idea what pitcher they were going to be. Yep. So I think there was always going to be a lot of questions around those 2 players, but what you were hoping for to see today was exactly what happened with Joe Musgrove. He talked afterwards, said he feels good, had kind of a positive vibe to him. That's what you were hoping for from both of these pitchers. At least at this point, we've only got that with Musgrove.
Let's hope that we get some reporting on it as the show gets underway or throughout the course of the afternoon. It is of note that if Nick Pivetta does not appear in the major leagues by August 22nd, his contract can be voided by the Padres. And you may say, well, why would they void his contract? They have no starting pitching. Voided at the end of the year. They're not walking away from him in season. Yeah. He's owed $32 million combined in 27 and 28. And the reason they would walk away from it is if he's hurt. I mean, he's missed 4 months. If he has suffered a setback, and if he does need, for example, I'm completely speculating, some type of surgery that's going to repair whatever injury he's dealing with, now you're talking about 2027 potentially. So there's a ton on the line for Nick Pivetta and the Padres organization. And you hate it personally for Pivetta, but it is a part of it, unfortunately. We understand, especially in baseball, with the pitching injuries, it's a part of it. Joe Musgrove's been dealing with it for years, and now Nick Pivetta's had this lost 2026 season to this point.
The business side of it, right, for him financially, I mean, we talked about how many bad contracts are out there in baseball right now. A lot of them. And a lot of those contracts are all guaranteed. So Pivetta to be dealing with this.
Yeah, potential void situation. Yeah.
And this is somebody that, I mean, there isn't a Padre fan out there that care. I mean, if I talk about the finances of the San Diego Padres, you and I can sit here for an hour and say, Jesus, that contract. Oh, my gosh, what are they going to do with this? How many years is that guy? Pivetta doesn't come in that conversation. You'd love to give Pivetta that $16 million a year, $32 million total, because number one, he's a starting pitcher. He's a damn good starting pitcher. He's a grinder, and we'll find out. We'll find out what happens. But that's a kick to the stomach there. See what they end up saying.
The one thing with Joe Musgrove, who goes, I think, in the end, 3 innings here today, is that, like you said, we'll hear from him later. He says he's optimistic on how he felt on the mound. That's very encouraging. I mean, we basically haven't seen him since October of 2024, so that is encouraging. But, and Preller said this yesterday with the media, it's one thing to go out there and pitch. It's another thing to replicate 5 days later and 5 days later. How does your body bounce back? How does your arm bounce back? They're cautious, dude. I heard Preller yesterday. They're very cautious. And this is the part that's probably the most precarious. Can you get through this part to get back to the major leagues? And it's a great unknown. And to your point, if they get one of them, that, I guess, is encouraging enough. That would be a decent result with the pitchers they've added here at the deadline. Plus, if you can add one, they're in a much better spot than they were a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, and imagine Joe Musgrove. I mean, literally, the man has not pitched. October will be 2 years that he has not pitched with the San Diego Padres, has not pitched in the majors. So for him, his recovery, how long it's taken him. Do you remember a year ago we were having a conversation that there was a chance that he might be back for the playoffs. You remember
I
that for
do,
like a
of
brief
course.
second that,
Yeah.
that conversation was there. And here we are now in August, and he's still not back. So I'm excited for Joe Musgrove just for the person,
I
right?
agree.
Like somebody who's a San Diegan who obviously wants to be back like no tomorrow. Marty had put out one of the quotes from. He just said it's a good day, as in. So if Joe Musgrove is saying is a good day, then you can only imagine what that can feel like for him. But you are right; it's not typically what it looked like today. How are you recovering? What's it look like the next day? Are you sore? Are there any setbacks? You know, so he's still got a long route to go. But from a Musgrove perspective, a Padres perspective, that seems like there's some positive news there.
All right. So obviously a busy deadline around baseball, not just with the Padres, Tarik Skubal to the Dodgers. Matt Money Smith is in San Diego. He works for a sister station with iHeartRadio, AM 570. He's on Petros and Money in the afternoons on 570. He's in studio here today. He's going to join us on the other side, talk about the ramifications of the Dodgers landing Tarik Skubal and what it means for the Padres and the NL West and baseball. So Matt Money Smith will join us on the other side. Kyle Glaser, veteran baseball reporter, great voice on all things Padres and baseball. He'll join us at 5 p.m. We'll get the Tigers' perspective on Casey Mize heading to San Diego from Cody Stavenhagen. He covers the Tigers for The Athletic. He'll join us in the 5 o'clock hour as well. But Matt, all right.
5:30 or 3:30?
What time's Matt Money Smith coming on?
Now or later? All right.
Mike, just come on in here.
Come on in, Mike.
Let's break the fourth wall.
Mike, happy birthday, man. Happy birthday.
Is today your birthday?
Yeah, Sunday.
Okay.
Yeah,
happy
because
birthday.
we screwed
Brent
up on
too.
Brent, so now we're...
He's on KLAC right now.
Okay.
Oh, they're breaking at 3:17.
Got you.
So you want us to keep it till 3:17 right now?
Well, no, but if you come back early,
This is good radio.
It's good.
this is the best radio
This
ever.
is
That's
very
really
good.
good.
This is very good.
Their birthday present to me.
There you
Happy
go.
birthday, Mike Usher. All
We'll
right.
get him on. We'll be
Matt
ready.
Money Smith is
Yep.
going to join us coming up on the other side. This is Schaefer and Slee with San Diego Sports 760. We're live on the iHeartRadio app.
Our San Diego Sports 760 has 9 chances to win $1,000 every weekday with a bonus Bucks giveaway. That's every hour, 9 a.m. through 5 p.m. Listen for the keyword, then enter it at sportssd.com. Your next chance to win $1,000 coming up after 4 p.m. on San Diego Sports 760.
All right, Schaefer and Sliwa. Matt Money Smith scheduled to join us in studio to talk about the impact of the Tarik Skubal move on basically baseball. Because if you do think about it, and we're going to hear, by the way, coming up, maybe at 3:30 from Chris Rose. I don't know if you've heard this or not.
Okay.
John Boy used to be on MLB Network.
Mm-hmm.
He went off on the Brewers, basically, about
That's okay.
as we talked about
all right
yesterday.
with that. Yeah.
And we'll hear it coming up at 3:30. But he said all these other moves that have happened on the periphery, we're going to talk about here locally.
Sure.
Mize and Ray or wherever. Luis Ariz to the Phillies. Like, they all pale in comparison. It's like you could have paired, obviously, Mizorowski with Skubal, and now you're facing him in game 2 as opposed to having him in game 2. So he went off.
I don't argue that, but I think there is a calculation that's a little bit different. And
it is different.
I don't disagree. Like, if the Brewers or one of these other teams could have got into the mix, that's different. But I also can be sold on the Brewers saying, we're going to have him for 2 months and then that's it, you know?
Let's get Matt Money Smith in.
What's
here.
up, Matt Money?
Well, let me get this mic on. What's going on, man?
How we doing?
I don't think we've ever met.
No.
John Schaefer, Alan Sliwa,
Good seeing you,
Schaefer and
brother.
Sliwa.
Yeah, dude, Sliwa, good to see you, brother.
How are you?
I'm great.
So
All right.
It's weird, you know. Sliwa's always on the phone, and like here we are.
It's in person.
Wait, you're always on the phone like on the radio. I thought
Like
like
so Sliwa followed me on Lakers line. Were you directly after me, or were
No,
you
I don't
after
think I
B
was.
Long? I think right.
Yeah, I was after Long, and there might have been somebody.
Might have been a couple others in there.
Might have been one person after.
Yeah.
trip down memory lane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate you hanging out. Sister
Absolutely.
Station, AM 570. Obviously, Petros and Money on 570. We were just talking. We spent so much time, obviously, on the trade deadline here locally with Padres landing a couple of starters. Obviously, the Dodgers make the big splash
What did
again.
they do? What did they do?
They land
Haven't heard
Tarik
about that.
Skubal. But what do you I mean, this is a more general conversation, but what do you make of just the resources available to LA? And it feels like every single deadline or offseason, the chips always fall in their favor.
Yeah.
What is the reaction? Obviously, locally, it's different in LA than this is in
Yeah,
San
I
Diego.
mean, we were just talking about this. So, you know, we've had the Dodgers for darn near, I don't know, 15, maybe close to 20 years now. Like, year after year, it was a real kick in the gut. It's losing to Washington, losing to the Mets, losing to the Braves, losing to the Padres, losing to getting swept by the Diamondbacks. Like, we went through this for 32 years. And now, like, we're finally getting to celebrate these great regular seasons that end in World Series. We know they were down 2-1 to the Padres 2 years ago, rallied in a bullpen game to overcome that. Last year, they should have lost the World Series multiple times in that Game 7. And now we're, you know, kind of trying to, I don't want to say defend the Dodgers, but say, guys, we have to talk about this on our show. This has not been great for a long time. And now in this 2-year window, I feel like everybody feels like, oh yeah, this has been unfair for a while. And it's like, no, they've managed to choke every single postseason until 2 years ago. So that's sort of one side of it. The other side is they have done such an exceptional job of developing guys. Like, you know, Matt Beatty was traded to the Padres. That's what brought them. River Ryan, you know, I mean, the Gavin Lux deal brought him Mike Sirota. The Michael Bush deal brought him Zaire Hope, who went in those. So, like, they're really good at that. So I think that's where and look, I don't want to try to pretend like they don't have the resources. Not every team can take on $10 million for their final 2 months of the season. The Dodgers can. So yes, I acknowledge that as well. But pardon me. But it's been fun as a Dodger fan that I know people listening right now don't want to hear. But it's been fun to get that boost every deadline. And I think it's something that AJ Preller's done a great job of as well. I mean, fans know what that boost feels like. And it's great. Like, it really makes you feel good going into the final 2 months of the season.
You know what it is? I think a perspective from LA is helpful because we're only going to have our perspective, right?
Yep.
And we're going to say, well, what's in it on this side of it? I think the question I would ask, just bigger picture, and I think if you take Skubal out of the mix, you think baseball there's an issue or there needs to be some type of an adjustment. And you could also say that I think I've heard people say that there are teams that don't spend enough. So the you know, as we talk about a salary cap, all right, the floor and the ceiling what do you think is healthy for the league moving forward? Or do you think structurally how it is today is the right way to run the league?
No, I point to the Padres a lot, actually, because I used to be in the music business, and San Diego was always a tough nut for us to crack. There just was not a lot of discretionary income available, and it was weird because it's a big city. It's a pretty wealthy city, and yet when I was working records, we couldn't sell records here. It was just kind of an odd market like that. I don't know what they were spending their money on, and now we've seen the Padres say, you know what? We're going to try to crack this code. We're going to invest in our team. We're going to spend on payroll. And it worked. It's one of the most vibrant, exciting atmospheres in game in all of sports. So it worked here. The one thing they don't have is a TV deal like the Dodgers. That, to me, it's the easiest solution out there. You pool all the local TV money and it gets split 30 ways. And that changes everything. The Dodgers should not be able to make $335 million a year in TV, and the Marlins make 50. That's just like that to me is not equitable. So I think if you were just to forget the salary cap and all of that, right now they pool all resources and take 48% of the gross and split it 30 ways. That even isn't fair. To me, it's take the local TV, split it 30 ways. Now, instead of banking whatever it would have been, $200 million, the Dodgers are getting 76 million bucks of it. The Padres are getting 76 million. And that way, everything is easy. I think that changed. To me, that's because and it's an ascending deal. They're going to make $500 million off TV in 2038. That's the way this deal was structured.
Wow.
That's why it's so high right now. So to me, and I think the Dodgers would probably say, yeah, you know what? We're going to keep putting a great product on the field. So we're going to make our extra money in-game concessions, parking, booze, all that's in-house merch. And that'll give them a more, but it won't be so drastic.
Yeah. Do you feel as if Matt Money Smith is in studio? Do you feel like there's an inevitability to a stoppage? Like, are we at a crescendo point with the sport where not only is there going to be a lockout, everyone knows there's a lockout. What is the potential impact? Could we be missing a full season of baseball? And is it all stem back to essentially the Dodgers and their, inequities compared to the rest of baseball?
Can I just say one thing, Mike? And it's funny. It's like they have broke the code in the sense that everyone's panicking, right? And in San Diego, if you're in the NL West, you've been looking at this. And I was in LA for a lot of those years that, like you said, they choked, this, whatever the case is. But I think the biggest thing is they were in it every year. Eventually, it's going to work out.
They had their chance.
Eventually, it's like things will balance out. And I think, obviously we're seeing that right now. But to go back to what John just asked on just the question of if you think there's time missing. But that's the only thing. I just say that because I think that part of it is kind of fascinating, that it's kind of just the Dodgers, because the Yankees make a lot of money. Mets, there's other markets, but they're not ran as well as they are.
Yeah, I think to your point about the lockout, I just feel like with national TV deals up right now, I talk about cutting off your nose to spite your face. Like, you cannot afford to take all this momentum and to pull an age 32 season from Shohei Ohtani out of the mix. Like, you just can't afford to do that. There's too much at stake with the negotiations with streaming, fighting each other to try to get their hands on live sports content, to have arguably the greatest draw in all of sports available to you, and then to just throw away a year. That seems crazy to me. And I do think the Dodgers, because it's their ballpark, that's going to bring I see it, man. There's Japanese tourists that roll up by the busload, and they take pregame tours and they buy merch. Like, it's crazy. Yeah. Like, so they would be, I think they'd be open to, we get it. We'll share the deal. We'll still make a ton of money. All the salary cap's going to do without sharing local TV is put more money in their pocket. Instead of making $200 million a year net, they're going to make $400 million a year net and just not spend as much, because people are still going to come to see Shohei and Yamamoto. And that's still going to happen. So to me, I feel like it's such an easy fix, man, just because now they don't have the extra and everybody else has extra. It just feels like
you could be more competitive with these deals. Sure.
It's right there. It's like,
one thing too, if there's a way to work into the CBA Xander's contract, let's just kind of, if we could just mix that in quietly there, and maybe nobody notices, or part of the TV deal for the Dodgers. I think one question that's not probably talked about enough, and I don't know how much it's talked about in LA. What do you think happens with deferrals? How do you think that? Because that does seem to also be not that other teams can't do it,
Right.
but I don't think other teams can do it to this extent. What do you make of the deferrals?
Yeah, I think the deferrals are interesting because to me it's a market by market ability to complain about it, because we long complained about state tax and the fact that California has a billionaire's tax or a multimillionaire's tax of 13.8%. That is a decided disadvantage for our teams compared to Texas and Florida and Washington. Can we even that out? No, of course you can't. And it's like, okay, well, now you're talking about a guy making 13% less on his deal in California. So to me, deferrals, that's ultimately what they are. It's a way for Mookie, who has a residence in Tennessee, Freddie, who has a residence in Atlanta. If it's post 10 years, you take your state tax in your state of residence. That's what that's all about. It's overcoming the 13.8% state. So I get why people are upset by the deferrals. So I think they would rein them in so it wouldn't be so egregious like in the Ohtani situation. Right. But the guy makes $100 million a year in Japanese endorsements alone. Like, it's just smart.
Doesn't even need it.
Yeah, it's smart business for him. He's like, well, I'm making $100 million this year in commercial endorsements. I would like to make $68 million 10 years from now in case that's not there, just to have this. Like, that's, so I get it, but I do think that was very strategic, that was how they presented these players with it. You can pay 13, and some player like Teoscar's like, no, I just want it right now. Okay, take it now.
Same issues we deal with, obviously, in radio.
That's
why I have the second residence, obviously.
That's right, the big bucks.
Matt Money Smith, appreciate you swinging by. Petros and Money, our sister station at AM 570. Good to see you. Thanks for doing it, man.
How much whining was that? I have so much whining when it comes to
just getting started.
It's so annoying.
We're actually
people are happy to hear me.
We'll hear from Chris Rose on the other side, his thoughts on how the rest of baseball let the Dodgers get Tarik Skubal. That's next. Schaefer and Slee with San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app.
Here's what's trending from the iHeart Sports Network, presented by iHeartAdvertising.com. The Padres are in Arizona getting set for game 2 of their series against the Diamondbacks. It's going to be Randy Vasquez going for the Padres and Eduardo Rodriguez going for the Diamondbacks. His first pitch tonight is at 6:40. Got a couple big signings in the NFL today. Running back Bijan Robinson and the Falcons agreed on a 3-year extension worth up to $75 million. 51 of that was guaranteed. That makes him the highest paid running back in NFL history. Then Baltimore and wideout Save Flowers agreed on a 4-year extension worth $140 million. 108 of that was guaranteed. College football news. We had the college football preseason coaches poll come out today. Ohio State is number 1, followed by Oregon. Then Georgia, Texas, and Notre Dame round out the top 5. Run a business and not thinking about radio? Think again, because people are listening to radio more today than they did 20 years ago. And only iHeartRadio connects with more Americans than TV, digital, and even social. Learn how radio can help your business. Call 844-844-iHeart.
All right, Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760. Can we check every 15 minutes for an update on Nick Pivetta?
Yeah,
leaving the mound at Lake
15
Elsinore?
minutes. I
mean, every
that's too
15
long.
seconds.
I'm gonna check. I'll keep checking.
Like, all I do is refresh something. I'm searching in Twitter, Alan. I don't know if you're doing the same.
Yeah, I did that.
Just search word Pivetta.
But it just comes out him just showing the clip of him coming out of the game.
Exactly.
I got a question for you.
Please.
Am I like? I feel like I'm a whiner when it comes to this salary cap stuff.
You
in
are.
baseball.
I mean, I get it.
But I am. I'm a
no, but here's the
straight
thing.
whiner.
I would say a majority of sports fans agree with your opinion. So think about that. You're in the majority.
Like what Money said, Matt Money Smith, what he just said about, all right, just share the TV revenue. You know what I say? That's not enough.
Okay. Where else would you go from there? Because that's interesting.
Because I think the TV revenue it's
a
fine.
good start.
It's a good start.
It's a good start.
But I don't think people understand how much money they're making. Like how wildly opposite
from the
they
other
are
teams.
of everybody else.
Well,
so it's like Alabama versus Granite Hills High School in El Cajon, right? Like,
or Troy, which is also in Alabama, but they're not Alabama.
Yeah, like I don't think people understand just how much money. So even if you did let's just split the local TV money, okay?
But they still have the endorsements and the.
That's why I don't understand. Like when he mentioned, which I get his point, he's like, listen, if you put a salary cap, all that means is the owners are making more money because instead of spending out 400, now they're only spending 200. I don't care about that part. The part I care about is every squad like as best as we can on an equal playing field? Everyone's always going to have an advantage, right? Like the Dodgers can have an advantage because it's their brand, it's LA,
they're in LA,
all that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. However, should their advantage be that much more than everybody else? Like the Lakers have an advantage on the Oklahoma City Thunder. That doesn't mean you're guaranteed anything because the Thunder are going to spend the same money as the Lakers. Which front office is better?
Yeah, I get that.
That's the world I want to live in. I want to live in the world where it's happening in basketball and it's happening in football as well. I want to live in the world I just want to know that if we have dumbass contracts that are going to hurt us for the next 4 or 5 years, then that's our problem and let's feel it.
And if they have the same issues, they should feel it as well.
That's it. That's all it is. Like the we'll use the Kyle Tucker as an example, right? Pretty awful contract.
$60 million a year.
Pretty awful contract.
Yep.
Not going to touch him.
Yeah, it's not going to impact them.
Do that to the Padres.
Yeah,
you're done.
I mean, listen, in theory, I like what you're saying. Most baseball, you're speaking to a lot of baseball fans. I think you're speaking to a lot of Padres fans. The one thing I would say, and this is where like I've just always, I think, been a realist, and this doesn't change your argument. Here's the way I see it. It's not going to be that way. And I hate to put it that bluntly. It's not going to be like the NBA or the NFL after the CBA. It's not. It's going to be closer, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe there's a floor. Maybe there's a cap. Maybe they split TV revenue. Maybe they don't. It's not going to be the NBA. Baseball's a unique beast in this country. They missed a World Series over this, and they still haven't resolved it 35 years later. I just don't think now is the time where everything becomes like the other American sport model. I think you'll get closer.
Here's why I think it's got a good chance of changing. I think the reason why it's got a good chance of changing is because it is the only storyline around baseball today.
It's one of the big ones, yes.
It's the only one.
I don't think it's the only one.
It's one of the one of the only real topics that I think is of. If I told you, give me the 5 top topics right now in baseball, that one's coming up a ton.
It
Okay?
is.
Now,
It is.
here's the other thing I'll say. Obviously, it's not the
Yeah.
only story, but you
Yeah.
know what I'm talking
Yeah,
about,
sure.
right? I think the other thing that's different than in times before, I think you got a lot of fans, which this does not line up very often. And hopefully the owners don't overplay their card on this
True.
because
Good
what
point.
the owners want is owners want a salary cap for themselves.
Yeah.
They don't give a flying, you know what? I mean, listen, some owners really do want to win. I'll give them credit for that. But a lot of these other owners, they're just in it for this is good for my portfolio.
Of course.
Right?
They all want to make money.
So I think with that being in mind, I think the only difference today than maybe it was in the past, I think fan sentiment is, what are we doing here? They had a stat of, I think it was like lowest ERAs since 2023, and it was the top 5.
Mhm.
All of them were Dodgers, but Paul Skeens. Every single pitcher on that list of the top 5 were Dodgers. I'm going to continue to emphasize when I say this. They ran really well. They make a lot of money. They are doing things that other markets that are just as big, if not bigger than them, the Yankees and the Mets can't run their operation the way the Dodgers do. Give them all the credit in the world for that. But there comes a time where it's like, is this sport going to come down to the talent? Is it going to come down to the front offices just being smarter than others? Or is it literally going to come down to we can write a bigger check 9 times out of 10 over you?
I think a lot of people would tell you, and your opinion is, again, widely the one of a number of baseball fans. However, I would say this. There is a general belief, and I do think in this area, you're not going to get exactly what you want. I really don't think that. But I would say this as well. Have you not heard this 1,000 times over the last 2 years? Baseball's never been in a healthier spot. The pitch clock has changed the sport. ABS challenge is good for the game.
But that has nothing to do with competition.
They got rid of the shift.
But that has nothing to do with competition. I think
I've
all
watched
that
this
stuff
sport
is
my
good.
whole life, and the Yankees won 4 or 5 World Series in the 1990s, and nothing changed. You know, I mean, this is just today's version of the Yankees.
I think this is different because I think that version of the Yankees, how many of those players came up through their farm system?
A good amount. The Dodgers have had players produced through their system as well, and the Yankees always supplemented with the largest deal in baseball every single year.
Okay, but you're watching a team right again. They have broke the sport. It could be the deferrals you're talking about. It could be you could say whatever you want about they got some guys that come up through system. Absolutely, they have. Who are all their main players? All their main players are not through their system. There are some. Will Smith is obviously through their system. Pages is an all-star. I'm not saying I'm not trying to diminish what that organization is. All I'm trying to do is say, let's look at other sports, what they're doing. And it does come down to which front offices are run the best. It does come down to, it's not the way it used to be where it's like, you know, Kevin Durant, remember when he was in OKC and there was like, yeah, you could be a star and be anywhere and still get endorsements and make money. I just want to see more of that. That's all I'm asking for. And by the way, that doesn't guarantee anything for the Padres. The Padres have been, let's just say there are times where there have been some decisions that we all sit back and say, what the hell is this organization doing? It doesn't guarantee the Padres anything. It's not like by a salary cap, all of a sudden the Padres are now, hey, they're in a great position to go win a World Series. It doesn't mean that at all.
Let me say this. You'll hate this. Certain things in life aren't fair. English soccer isn't fair. Guess what? It's among the most popular sports in the world. Same thing. Spend out the wazoo. College football is not fair.
Mm-hmm.
College basketball is not fair. Guess what? College football is the second most popular sport in this country, despite the inequities. Major League Baseball, I agree, is not inherently equal. It's still a very popular sport. And just because it's not fair or equal doesn't mean it will become just because.
All good. If it doesn't happen, doesn't happen. But if there's ever a time that the conversation is here,
there's a real
and it is leading to 2027, and if there's ever a time to apply a salary cap or something close to that, I think it's going to be an interesting conversation in the summer.
There'll be real change. There'll be real change that will be beneficial. I just don't know if we get the sweeping change.
Yeah, and that's probably not realistic.
It might be realistic, but we'll see if it happens. And if it is realistic, what is the cost? Will it cost, the 2027 season? And is that worth it?
All right, I keep looking Pivetta. I'm not seeing anything.
All right, we'll try to get an update on Nick Pivetta. Also, we will hear from AJ Preller on the Dodgers. He was asked it yesterday. Are they ruining the sport or not? Plus, Chris Rose on why didn't the Brewers just trade for Tarik Skubal? All that ahead. Schaefer and Slee with San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. Stop whining. Hey guys, it is Schaefer again for my friends at the all-new Jamul Casino Resort, the Players Place. You're going to absolutely love it. If you haven't been this summer, make sure to check out their hotel and spa, where you are experiencing elevated luxury each and every time you visit. They've got their refined hotel stay, rooftop relaxation, perfect this time of year, indulgent spa treatments, all the excitement of Jamul Casino Resort seamlessly brought together in one unforgettable destination. And now you can take your stay to the next level. Exclusive hotel packages crafted for the ultimate escape. You got to check out the pool. Starlight Pool. Soak up the sun. Soak in the views at San Diego's ultimate rooftop pool. Day passes starting at just $40, so grab your friends, relax, and make it a pool day to remember. And while you're at Jamul, check out all the food and dining options like Jamul 23 with their lobster buffet every day. You can enjoy all-you-can-eat lobster every day, plus dozens of other delicious stations. Start your morning with their new signature breakfast buffet, Monday through Friday, 8 to 10:30 a.m. Made-to-order omelets, fresh fruit, sweet and savory favorites at the all-new Jamul Casino Resort, the Players Place. Schaefer and Slee with San Diego Sports 760. By the way, we've got a couple of great guests lined up for you this afternoon. We have great giveaways for you today. But Kyle Glaser, the veteran baseball reporter and writer, will join us at 5 p.m. Cody Stavenhagen is on the show today, Alan. The Athletic covers the Tigers. Of course, Casey Mize coming west to San Diego.
Yeah,
So
we'll kind of see, give us a little scouting report on our new pitcher.
New pitcher for the Padres. We'll talk to, again, Cody Stavenhagen, who covered the Tigers for the Athletic. We'll give away a 4-pack of tickets to see 311 coming up in the 4 o'clock hour as well. We've got Luke Bryan tickets with Jason Aldean to give away in the 5 o'clock hour as well. Can we hear from Chris Rose? I found this to be fascinating. Okay. This is Chris Rose. He's now with John Boy, and he goes on a podcast. Where does it start? Does he just start ranting, or does he ask a question about Skubal? He just starts ranting about Skubal to the Dodgers as opposed to like a team like Milwaukee. Take a listen to this.
My attitude right now is the reason I wanted the Brewers to go so hard after Tarik Skubal. And I know that you guys have probably already talked this a ton, but it is the biggest story we've got. We can focus on all these, interesting little moves that we think is going to be all the difference in the world. Let's talk about the biggest one in the room, which is all these people flooding our comments section from the late night Saturday show and the one I did earlier today with Dalton that's saying, well, we can't give up these prospects. It's the lifeblood of the Brewers and Rays organizations. That is such bullshit. I cannot stop. I mean, I've had enough of it. Enough. I went back to 2017 when Christian Yelich was traded to the Brewers. Do you know that the Brewers gave up their first, their fourth, their seventh, and a 16th or 17th best prospect? Now, I know that Yelich was under control. He ended up getting the extension, so it's a different thing. People will say, we can't do it for just a 2-month rental. Really? How many World Series have the Brewers won? Oh, you could even throw the Rays in there. I'll combine them. How many World Series have those two franchises won? Anybody? That's correct, nerd boy. 0. So why don't we try something different? You know what's definitely on? Do you think that Dustin May is going to line up and everybody's going to be like, hell yes, that guy's going to pitch game 2 because Kyle Harrison's arm has fallen off. So now we have to trot out Dustin May in game 2 of the NLCS against the Dodgers. And you know who he's going to face? Tarik Skubal. And that's going to be a problem for the Brewers. I love the Brewers. They are a tremendous story. The idea should not be just to survive. It should be to advance. And I don't care. I am telling you this as a lifelong Indians fan who did not pull the trigger on a Randy Johnson trade, who did not pull the trigger on a Curt Schilling trade, who did not pull the trigger on a Pedro Martinez trade. I regret it. I would have given up anything. Hell, I would have given up this arm. I would have cut my damn head off to have a chance at that stuff. And we had a way better team than the Brewers do now. And we still didn't get it done. And it pains me because we didn't try.
What do you think of that? Good rant, by the way. Good rant.
I don't have an argument against it. I think there are a lot of people that we said this. We talked about this. I think it was yesterday that if you were in no, it was actually last week. It was before the trade had gone down.
Okay.
I said, if you were in San Diego and your record is what the Brewers' record is,
right,
and you're going toe to toe with everyone in baseball,
sure,
and you got to this spot and Skubal's available, and it was going to take 1 or 2 more prospects than you thought it was going to take to get it done. It would have been a very tough pill to swallow to come to a show yesterday and say, hey, you didn't go for it.
Right.
It would have been. Now, I will also just say this, the Milwaukee Brewers, it is a rental. So for them, it's I get if there's a justification, I wouldn't have done it. I think clearly as a fan, you're like, if we're doing this, we're doing it. Because not only did Skubal go to the Dodgers, but Skubal kept the Dodgers or kept the Brewers. Kept the Brewers or kept that pitcher away from the Brewers. So it's kind of like it's kind of a no-brainer for them to play defense on top of playing offense. So I think it's a very, very valid point. Now, I'll go back and if the Milwaukee Brewers are in the mix every single year and they haven't won a World Series, is this the time that you go for it? Maybe. I mean, I would understand that case. I think he's making a strong case for it.
Yeah, it's an interesting point. I mean, I agree with you. It is nuanced. I don't think it's so clear cut. Maybe I said yesterday I thought it was. I don't think it's so clear cut that the Brewers have to throw every single asset at Tarik Skubal. because now you do have all of your chips in one hand. And what if you don't win? I mean, even if they did have Skubal, you made this point yesterday, even if they had a 50-50 shot to beat LA, that's just a 50-50 shot. What do I like to say about boarding a plane? You don't like to board a plane if it's got a 90% chance of landing. So if you go acquire Skubal and you got a 50% chance of reaching the World Series, that's not incredible odds. It's good odds by baseball standards. So I do respect that. It's like you're all in, but what if you fall flat or you come up short? You still have to field a team in 2027. Are you going to give up 2027 in exchange for 26? The point Chris Rose makes is a point I've made here locally a lot. At some point, you need to win a World Series. That's the point. Me personally, I don't see 10 years of success as more beneficial than one World Series than you fall flat for a decade. The Miami method, which is go win the World Series in what year did Miami win the World Series?
I think 2001
and 1997.
Yeah.
1997, they won the World Series. They tore the entire thing down. It was an embarrassment to the sport. They won it. Their owner's like, I'm out. These contracts are way too big. It was embarrassing, but they did win the World Series. It does count. It's etched on the trophy.
But here's what we can apply to what Milwaukee just did. The Padres have gone all in.
They have.
I mean it doesn't really apply. Like I think if you had a Brewers guy on today, or if you had a Brewer fan,
yeah,
I'm imagining Brewer fans are saying like, isn't this the moment that you go all in? Isn't this why you have your farm system? Isn't this the why? And this is the problem with the Brewers is they're in the postseason every year and always disappoint.
Good point.
Skubal is the guy that can take you over the top. This is a guy that you can potentially pitch 3 times in a 7-game set.
You're right.
Right? Like,
yeah, you're right.
This is the guy. This is one of those guys. So I completely understand it. I think in San Diego, it's different because
it is different. It's
different because you have a fan base that has. How often do you see this from a fan base that's like, hey, Preller, want to pump the brakes a little bit with some of the guys that you're giving away every single year? That's not common.
That's not common in this sport.
And that's because all Preller has done is go all in. Can the two front offices work together?
Be more measured?
Maybe there's a little bit of a balance.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, but I do think, look, from again, Brewers and even Tampa, if you're really in it on this thing, that's a tough one to watch to see Skubal go. And listen, we don't know what happened behind the scenes. Didn't Skubal had say something that his preferred destination was the Dodgers?
His agent did.
I mean, how do you know that Skubal or his agent really kind of pushed against the Brewers and pushed against Tampa? It's like he doesn't want to go there.
Did you see the quote from Skubal? What do you have to say? We haven't even talked about the quote. Mm-hmm. This is an actual quote. All right. Jesse Rogers has it in an article. This is from Tarik Skubal. Every team could have traded for me. I don't sympathize with people that are complaining because the Dodgers do all the right things. That's an actual quote from Tarik Skubal on day one as a Dodger. Brent wants to weigh in on that.
And you know what that means to me? That sounds like a guy who wants to get re-signed to a huge
Dodgers
contract at the end of the year. So I'm going to kiss ass.
Yeah,
it's happening anyways. But okay, well, you know what I wish there was a question asked. Hey, were any of those reports true that your preferred destination was LA? And do you think that stopped other teams from wanting to make a move for you?
They probably did.
And that's all I'm saying. Like at the end, and listen, yeah, well, they will pay the most, and you got a chance to win if you go there.
Yeah, that's again the quote. Here's the full quote from Jesse Rogers. I'm on his Twitter page right now. Every team could trade for me. I don't sympathize with people that blame the Dodgers for anything they've done. It's a winning organization. I really don't sympathize with people that are complaining because the Dodgers do all the right things. That's the direct quote from Jesse Rogers on social media. We can react to that. Plus, AJ Preller.
Throw that salary cap in there. Let's top Skubal out at a dollar amount for next year.
$1 million. AJ Preller, does he think the Dodgers are ruining baseball?
I'm done with them.
Directly from his mouth.
Us. Can we start worrying about us?
Well, he'll mention that, but we're going to hear from AJ Preller on the Dodgers and if they're ruining baseball or not. Plus, we'll get to the wrap. Plus, Kyle Glaser will join us coming up at 5 p.m. with more on the Padres at the deadline here on Schaefer and Sliwa. Stay with us.
Here's what's trending from the iHeart Sports Network, presented by iHeartAdvertising.com. Padres and Diamondbacks are getting set for game 2 of their series tonight in Arizona. It's going to be Randy Vasquez going for the Friars and Eduardo Rodriguez going for the Snakes. First pitch tonight is at 6:40. NFL, we had a couple big signings today. Running back Bijan Robinson and the Falcons agreed on a 3-year extension worth $75 million. 51 of that's guaranteed. That makes him the highest paid running back in NFL history. And then Baltimore signed wide receiver Zay Flowers to a 4-year extension worth $140 million. 108 of that was guaranteed. College football news. We had the release of the college football preseason coaches poll today. Ohio State was number 1, followed by Oregon. Then Georgia, Texas, and Notre Dame round out the top 5. Run a business and not thinking about radio? Think again, because people are listening to radio more today than they did 20 years ago. And only iHeartRadio connects with more Americans than TV, digital, and even social. Learn how radio can help your business. Call 844-844-iHeart.
Hour 2 here on Schaefer and Slee. With this hour, Alan, let's give away a 4-pack of tickets to see 311. Should we do that?
Oh, yeah.
311 Dirty
Definitely
Heads
should.
as well. August 19th, North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. So we'll give those away this hour. Next hour, we've got tickets to see Luke Bryan and Jason Aldean. So we'll do that in the 5 o'clock hour. Kyle Glaser will join us. Used to be at Baseball America. He'll recap the trade deadline for us.
There you go.
At 5 p.m., then we'll talk about Casey Mize from the Tigers' perspective with a reporter for The Athletic, Cody Stavenhagen, will join us coming up at 5:30.
Got a lot going on today.
All right, what's going on today? The Pivetta situation.
I mean, and something we haven't even talked about. I mean, we can hit on whatever we want around the baseball side of things, but the Padres did not help themselves yesterday. Never in that game against Arizona. Now 2 games back in the wild card spot. Last night was the first game after the trade deadline.
Oh, yeah, they played a game yesterday.
Are you putting yourself in a better spot or are you not? So instantly yesterday, after we all got excited about the signings and a couple starting pitchers added to the mix, before you know it, they're 2 games back. So, you got 3 games left against Arizona. You got to take 2 of these.
I get 2 of them. It's quasi like a got-to-win game tonight. Because if you lose, you're 3 back. And you don't have a tiebreaker with Philly.
The problem is you're putting your hand in the ball to Randy Vasquez. I got no idea what Randy Vasquez is going to give the Padres today. And probably it might be one of those 3 innings, just, one time through the order, and let's get somebody else up.
By the way, the Padres have made the following moves to their 26-man roster. Casey Mize has been activated. Gage Workman, the infielder, the guy with the middle name Tater, that they acquired as well in that deal, he's been activated.
Love Tater.
So Workman and Mize, guess who they optioned? J.P. Sears and catcher Rodolfo Duran have been optioned to AAA. So the moves are Mize and Workman for Sears and Duran as the Padres stretch run begins in earnest.
Still have no idea on the Nick Pivetta stuff. So as soon as if we hear anything, then we'll see. Maybe we get an opportunity to hear from Craig Stammen a little bit later before the game against the Diamondbacks, and maybe we got an update there from him.
Just real quick, this from Jeff Sanders in the UT on Musgrove and Pivetta rehabbing today. He writes in his article, he says it remains to be seen what Tuesday's setback does for Pivetta's timeline. Listen to this. Before his appearance, Pivetta had sent word through Lake Elsinore Storm personnel that he would not speak with reporters after coming out of the game, as Joe Musgrove did. Before his outing, he said he would not speak. And then, of course, he has this outing where we're like, what happened? And he will not speak.
It's very odd, brother.
It is. It's very
and to be
odd.
honest with you, I'm a little annoyed here that nobody has given
an
any
explanation.
update.
I agree completely with that.
You're talking about a player that we have not seen since the first month of the season, and is such a critical potential piece for the Padres moving forward. And for his own, for his own sake as well. You and I were talking about it, sympathizing like, hey, this dude's contract could be voided if he's not pitching for the Padres within the next couple of weeks, I think it's the 22nd or 19th or something like that, whatever the date is. This happened 4+ hours ago. I mean,
it's crazy.
Is there nobody from the San Diego Padres that we're all just speculating?
Put out a statement. To your point, I said this, I think I said it off air. There is no world in hell, correct me if I'm wrong, where the Yankees, frontline starter could leave an outing in AAA Scranton Wilkes-Barre, and 4 hours later there'd be no reporting on his status. That world doesn't exist. Same thing with the LA Dodgers, by the way. How is it possible? Nick Pivetta, your opening day starter, was he? Your opening day starter.
Against Skubal.
You go just 5 hours of radio silence.
By the way, when everyone is on pins and needles trying to see what happens with Joe Musgrove and Nick Pivetta. I mean, we look like idiots sitting here on the air, not giving any. Yeah, I mean, just.
And we're like, oh, is he gonna have Tommy John? Oh, is he fine? We have no clue. It's all speculation because put out a statement.
Even if I swear, even if it's just some kind of information to just get even your fan base, like, all right, let us just give them some kind of direction. Come on, this was 11:30, 11:45, whenever it was.
I completely agree with you. Brent, can we get to the wrap? Let's get to the wrap. We're mad.
It's time for the wrap. Presented by Sombrero Mexican Food. Check out their website at sombreromex.com.
What are your expectations for Tarik Skubal's Dodgers debut tonight at Wrigley Field?
He's a really good pitcher. So my expectations is he's going to be really good tonight as well. I mean, listen, the guy's a stud. So, and we saw it game 1 this year, Padres and Tigers. Do you remember it was Pivetta versus Skubal? That's how we were down at Petco Park.
What?
Right, we were outside of Petco. Do you remember? That was
game
1 to start the season. So what are my expectations? My expectations are exactly what the guy is. A really good pitcher in Major League Baseball. That is my expectations.
My hope is after his quote where he's like, Dodgers are great. Anyone could have done this. Although I've kind of said that same thing. I hope he gets shelled tonight. Probably won't. Probably goes 6 innings, 1 run.
Well, the Cubs have been playing good
awesome
ball. And I think the Dodgers have dropped 4 in a row. Now, I don't think all that means anything in the big picture.
Cubs offense has been really
the Cubs
good.
have been legit.
The Cubs destroy left-handed pitching. They're like 3rd in the majors against lefties this year. So that could be interesting.
All right.
What was the question, by the way? What was the
question
expectations?
was, what's your favorite meal on Thanksgiving?
I agree with that.
You agree?
I do. Next question.
What do you guys think of the Sirens nickname for Cleveland's new WNBA team?
Cleveland Sirens, Alan.
I had to look into it.
Did you?
And I had to get like more of an idea of what is going on.
Sure.
What is your initial reaction when you hear it? When you heard Sirens? But what did you think of? Like without knowing anything?
I thought nothing of it.
Okay, I'm just thinking like, oh, is this I don't know, like literally, I didn't know it was Lake Erie, and I didn't know it was like tied to
What's
all
Lake
these.
Erie have to do with Sirens? I'm asking you.
I just looked into it. I don't even know if I fully understand, but I was trying to kind of read up on it, so I had somewhat of an idea. Yeah, it's something to do with the water, Lake Erie.
Oh, the power of Lake Erie and celebrate the city's rich musical heritage.
So that's what it is. I think if it's taking us that long to ask all these questions about it, tells you, I think right there in itself.
You saw logo? Logo's bad. I think the logo's bad. Someone look up the logo.
Almost, if you change the colors a little bit, it almost looks like the Sixers if from far
Good
away.
point. It does with the S.
Yeah.
Like, this is the best you can do. Remember, you changed Indians to Guardians. I keep messing with my camera when I do that, when I move my laptop.
Yep.
I thought they should have gone to Cleveland Spiders. That was the initial name of the MLB team. They go Guardians, whatever.
Okay.
Which I didn't love, and I still don't love.
Mm-hmm.
And then Sirens. Okay? I mean, I think you could do better, in my opinion.
You know what's funny? I think the team that basically like walked away wasn't Washington. Wasn't it Washington Football Club for a second?
Yep. Sure.
Brother, that was a strong name.
You like that?
I like that name. I think it was gaining some momentum. I think the logo looked good. I like that better than I like what they had there.
I know this isn't PC. I'm going to say something that's actually probably controversial. Like, why is it? Like, I understand you're not trying to offend or disparage. I do understand it, but there's no it's not equal across playing fields. It's like we have the Kansas City Chiefs and the Atlanta Braves, but we don't have the Washington Redskins and we don't have the Cleveland Indians. So I don't really understand it, truthfully. I feel like you can't appease everyone. You just unfortunately can't do that. I don't know how that has anything to do with the Cleveland Sirens, but it's just my 2 cents.
A lot of that's money. That's why Florida
Rebrands.
State gets away with it because they donate a bunch of money to Seminole Nation. Yeah.
Next question.
San Diego State's receiving votes in the initial coaches poll. What would it take for him to crack the top 25?
All right, I'm gonna go through this with you. How do they crack the top 25? You got to go like, is it a 5-0 start? Is it a 6-0 start? It's like something like that to kind of start getting some recognition and some mentions.
Probably.
When do they play Boise State?
It's actually their last game before their flex game. I think it's the 11th game of the regular season overall. Well before that, if they were having the type of season that would warrant it.
Right.
I think if you win at UCLA and beat JMU at home, so those are games 2 and 3. If you won at the Rose Bowl, I know UCLA is not the top of the Big Ten.
Yeah.
But if you did that and you coupled it with a win over a team that was in the playoff last year, which JMU was, and you're 3-0, you'd be on the cusp, would be my guess. Maybe it would take a 4th win, but I think in that 3-0, 4-0 realm, you'd at least be in the
top
conversation.
25?
In the conversation.
Yeah, and listen, what is the goal? I think for San Diego State, you just want to be in that chat, be in that conversation.
That'd be amazing.
Because I think even for San Diegans, there is something about, we've heard Sean Lewis talk about it. We've heard, a lot of people talk about how they have to have a home field advantage this year.
Right.
Damn, does it mean something when there's a number 24 next to San Diego State University, or 22 or 25? Even if, like you said, you're just in the conversation, you're getting votes, you just don't have enough to be top 25. I think that's big for the university as well.
I completely agree with you. Final question.
Will Joe Musgrove make an impact for the Padres this season?
That goes beyond appearing.
Yeah. I'm going to say this. Some of the stuff that's come out of his mouth over the course of these last couple of weeks does give me some real optimism for Joe Musgrove.
Okay.
And luckily enough, Joe Musgrove, talked, obviously, he said it's a good day. That was a quote Marty had put out there. She had a video on her, Marty Caswell put out on X. I'm going to say he's going to have some impact. Obviously, there's a little bit of blind faith in there, but that's how I'll describe it.
I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to bet on Joe Musgrove. It hasn't always worked out the way we want it to. You can't question the desire, by the way. The guy wants it.
I know.
It goes beyond that. I do hope that he makes an impact for the Padres here in 2026. All right. Kyle Glaser, veteran baseball reporter, will join us at 5. Cody Stavenhagen from The Athletic will join us at 5:30 on the Casey Mize deal. I think by activating Mize today, Alan, he pitches tomorrow. Robbie Ray hasn't reported yet to the Padres. He's expected to report tonight, which means they could activate him tomorrow and have him pitch Thursday.
Gotcha.
Getting ahead of myself, but I think we'll see Mize and Ray soon.
Timing will be good because we got a guest later today that will break it down for us from a Tiger perspective. We got a guest coming up on Thursday that will break down Robbie Ray, covers the San Francisco Giants. So we appreciate the Padres kind of working with us on when we have our guests on to then have these appearances for these new starting pitchers.
Let's hear from AJ Preller on the deadline, what he had to say yesterday to the media on the other side, specifically about the upcoming CBA and also the Padres' place in the NL West right now, trying to catch up to the LA Dodgers. That's on the other side. Our guest coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. We're giving away 311 tickets this hour. Schaefer and Slee with San Diego Sports 760. We're live on the iHeartRadio app.
All right, our iHeartRadio Music Festival is back. Live performances by the Goo Goo Dolls, Kenny Chesney, Lainey Wilson, Snoop Dogg, Weezer, and more. September 18th and 19th at T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. 2 nights, 1 stage. While the world is listening on iHeartRadio, you could be there. 3 chances every weekday for you to win your trip for 2 plus $1,000 in spending money. We've got your first chance to win starting Monday at 9 a.m.
We have 311 tickets, Alan, to give away this hour. 311 and Dirty Heads, August 19th, North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. When's August 19th? On the 19th of August this year?
Probably, it's, I think, exactly on the 19th.
They are going to do it this year on the 19th.
Do it this year on the 19th.
Well, it's in 2 weeks. It's a Wednesday.
It's a Wednesday on the 19th.
2 weeks from tomorrow. We've got tickets to see 311, a 4-pack of tickets. We'll give those away this hour. I want to hear from AJ Preller. Because you tell me if he took the bait or not. Jeff Sanders of the UT asking about whether or not the Dodgers are ruining baseball. This gets into a conversation about the CBA. This is AJ Preller.
You're going to love this one, AJ. Everyone's got an opinion this weekend. Are the Dodgers ruining baseball?
Again, like I think we've, it feels like, we've seen them in the playoffs, a few times here in the decade. Obviously, we see them a lot. You kind of expect that, that a lot of teams in our division and especially the Dodgers are going to improve every single year. Personally, like, again, when you have, great teams and you have great players, it just raises the bar of other people and other players and other teams. And I think that's, again, like our focus is on, at least this week, our focus is on what we need to do to get better in our group and our team. But when you've got a, highly competitive division or team, that definitely, can help raise the bar of what it looks like. I think for us, let people debate about, what it all means. But, we understand to come out of the National League West and the National League, you've got to be really good. We've had opportunity to see them in the playoffs. We're hoping to do it again here this year.
Do you think the result of the next CBA, are there practical things that, you might like to see come out of that might level the playing field for all 30 teams?
I mean, again, like our focus, like at least my focus right now is, the Diamondbacks tonight, our roster, how we're going to fit the new players in, a lot of faith that, there's people way above my pay grade that's what their job is to try to, figure out from an industry standpoint, what's the most exciting product, what's a product that fans want to come out and see. That usually involves great players and great teams competing at a high level. There's been a lot of really good things in the sport over the last few years that have been, that have been brought on from Central Baseball and from the public agreeing on some stuff. I hope that happens again now because it's such a good product. There's a lot of teams in the hunt this year. It's cool to see. Excited about us competing here in the next couple of months and then letting other people that are the experts in those areas try to figure out what's best for the sport.
Your thoughts, AJ Preller?
My brother dancing out there. AJ
He's
Preller.
so political, isn't he? He doesn't say much on anything, does he?
I mean, that is as good of a dance as you can get, brother.
I agree. But he does that on everything, doesn't he?
Dodging left and right.
He did a lot of dodging.
Listen, I think, I don't know if somebody was expecting a different answer from him.
I don't think so.
What I think would be interesting is if you ask that same question to other owners, if they would have, a different opinion.
That would be interesting.
But I think that's what Preller's got to do. I mean, even said in there, we faced them in the playoffs before, and hopefully we get another chance to face them again. That's the right thing to say. I don't think somebody in his position is going to give you much. And I think most people are not going to give you much on that conversation. I think there's it's left for other people to come up with a solution or to bitch and complain about or to whine or whatever the case is. Like, I think that's not for AJ Preller. And yes, he danced a lot, but I'm not surprised he did.
Have we buried the lead, by the way? Kevin Acey's reporting this Jose Feliciano sale is complete the week of August 17th. Mm-hmm. That is the expectation. We are speaking maybe by that 311 concert on Wednesday, August 19th. Maybe Feliciano and Kwanzaa Jones will be there to celebrate
on a Monday
the completion of the sale.
On a Wednesday, the 311 concert.
Do you? They're going to speak with the media before the 311 concert. Are you excited? I am. Are you excited to hear from Jose Feliciano? We'll need to hear from him once this is formalized, correct?
Oh yeah, of course. I think, yeah, I am excited because, listen, we all know this. Ownership is
Huge.
it's everything.
It's huge.
I mean, it's everything.
Yeah.
I mean, it really all starts with ownership. And if we're being frank with each other here, we got no idea what era of San Diego Padres baseball we're walking
That's
into.
what I'm saying.
We have no idea. If he decided the moment he gets into office and says, or gets into, the offices of the San Diego Padres and decides, I don't know what's going on with these books here, but I don't run my business like this. And that's not how we're going to be running this business. If he walks into, San Diego and says, I care about one effing thing. I want to win a World Series. I have no idea what we're walking into. And it's not like in his initial presser, you're going to get your answer of who he is and what he is.
True.
But I think you're going to start getting a little bit of a shape of like, okay, what is this guy about? And you really won't know for about a year what kind of owner that he is. But yes, to answer your question.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, it's one thing to say you want to win a World Series. What owner ever comes in baseball and says they don't want to win a World Series? There's another thing to see the actions of the owner. Like, is he really going to win at all costs? And not that I'm necessarily advocating for it. They've gone down that path. Maybe it hasn't served them well. Is he going to gut it all to the best of his ability to restart the thing? Or will it be somewhere in between? But I do want to hear from his mouth, because think about this. Really, post Peter, since his passing,
nothing.
We've heard so little from the organization in general. And that's now years ago. That was years ago that Peter Seidler passed away untimely. So I do want to hear from the organization. And I hope we do hear within the next couple of weeks when Jose Feliciano and Kwanzaa Jones are officially owners.
They're going to be such critical, like literally they become kind of the lifeline of San Diego. So your ownership group, we used to have, obviously when the Chargers were here, there was this, hey, we got a couple of chances here to potentially win one in San Diego.
Right, you got the Super Bowl, you got the World Series, you got each season,
You got all that.
Yeah.
Greedy ass goes up to LA, takes off. Now you're kind of, all the pressure is on the San Diego Padres. SDFC is a little bit, right?
Yeah,
and that will grow as you get into it. San Diego State's got some pressure. But from a pro perspective, and obviously we know what the Padres mean, that ownership's going to be everything.
No doubt about it. All right, let's hear from Joe Musgrove after his rehab outing today in Single A, Lake Elsinore, speaking on his health. Plus, we're giving away 311 tickets this hour for a show coming up August 19th here in San Diego. And Kyle Glaser, veteran baseball reporter, will join us at 5 p.m. on Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760. We're live on the iHeartRadio app.
Here's what's trending from the iHeart Sports Network, presented by iHeartAdvertising.com. The Padres and Diamondbacks are getting set for game 2 of their series in Arizona. It's going to be Randy Vasquez going against Eduardo Rodriguez. First pitch is set for 6:40. We had a couple big signings in the NFL today. Running back Bijan Robinson and the Falcons agreed on a 3-year extension worth $75 million, 51 guaranteed. That makes him the highest paid running back in NFL history. Then the Ravens and wide receiver Zay Flowers agreed on a 4-year extension worth $140 million. 108 of that is guaranteed. And in college football news, we had the first college football preseason coaches poll came out today. Ohio State was number 1, followed by Oregon. Then Georgia, Texas, and Notre Dame rounded out the top 5. Run a business and not thinking about radio? Think again, because people are listening to radio more today than they did 20 years ago. And only iHeartRadio connects with more Americans than TV, digital, and even social. Learn how radio can help your business. Call 844-844-iHeart.
Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760. We're giving away 311 tickets, Alan. That's all I wanted to tell you. We're giving away 311 tickets.
You hit one yesterday, no look. Like you straight up. You
my crumpled up piece of paper?
You haven't hit a shot looking.
Excuse
You're
me?
0 for 37 looking.
That's
Yesterday
a gross
you did
exaggeration.
a no looker and it went right in.
That's a gross exaggeration. I'm at
You're like
least
Jordan shooting free throws.
I'm like 2 for 30 at least. Okay.
You're probably right about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Apologize.
You haven't had arc since we started shooting, and then yesterday not looking was the best arc I've ever seen in my life.
Alan, I don't recall scoring ever in the sport of
You
basketball
have scored.
in a
I'm telling you,
competitive
you've scored.
league. Now, I never played in the NBA.
Like I think there's legality rules that these rec centers have to let you score. I think your rec center
Yeah, but I didn't
can
want
be
that,
closed
dude.
down if you do not allow every kid to score.
So you played, like, what was your sport of choice? You were a basketball player and it wasn't even close?
I
Like
loved
that was your
basketball.
sport?
Yeah, by far. Bro, there
Were you a
times-
big, like,
there-
scorer? Were you basically like,
Oh,
were you like
I-
LeBron of your league?
I was a point guard. You know
You
what
were
I
a
mean?
point guard.
I was like,
you like Chris Paul?
No, I was like a 5'4" Magic.
You were a 5'4" Magic,
Yeah,
as in 5
5'4"
feet 4
version-
inches tall,
5'4"
and Magic
version of
Johnson.
Magic, yeah.
Were you like a kind of 10, 10, and 10 guy? Like 10 points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists?
No, not any of
Less
that.
than that.
He was like if they combine Magic Johnson
6'2".
and Muggsy Bogues.
Gotcha. Okay.
That's exactly what
But
it
you
was.
played, serious question. My former co-host also played a very high level of basketball, believe it or not. And he wasn't, I'll be honest, he wasn't 6'7.5". Like he wasn't a big guy.
We have to define what high level means. If high level
you play high
means
school?
You played high school.
Yes.
And then everything after that is like, yeah, you're just playing pickup basketball.
Yeah, but you played in a high school
Mhm.
where there's like Division I players coming out of San Diego County, theoretically.
Yeah. I played through my JV year. I didn't play varsity. So if that helps a little bit as well. So now we're taking out, now let's
Gotcha.
take out some of those D1 players.
What happened between JV and varsity?
Yeah,
Did
it's
you
just
hold out?
The other teams. Yeah.
It was an NIL?
I held out. Yeah, that's exactly
You're
what it was.
still holding.
I'm gonna run with that. I'm gonna say I held out. My agent, we didn't come to terms.
But in high school, you did play JV basketball.
Yeah.
Anything else?
No.
Okay, JV basketball maybe for a couple of years, 9th, 10th grade, somewhere in there?
Yeah,
10th,
that was
11th
it.
grade?
Mhm.
Okay. I just want to.
What did you play?
I played baseball at Lower Marion.
But you said a catcher too, right?
I was a catcher. I was in that Pudge mold when you think of it, like kind of a half Pudge, half bench when I was younger. That's, I had a little Adley Rushman in there.
I'd picture you more of a Jason Kendall.
I was
You're kinda
Jason Kendall,
skinny,
yeah,
you're a
absolutely.
skinny catcher.
But
There's a
then I
reason
tore my
why-
meniscus.
There's a reason why you and I are both doing radio.
100%.
Yes.
I mean, I knew when I was 7 I wanted to do radio. I knew when I was 7 I sucked at sports. I don't know if I put it that bluntly, but all these other kids are like hitting shots and like
You know what
hitting
it
the
was?
ball.
You know what it was for me? Like when
Yeah.
I knew when I was at San Diego State, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna get my degree in communications. I'm like, well, just let me get this right. So you can get a degree by just like talking?
It's an amazing. I have the same degree.
I'm
Like,
like, wait a minute here.
How about
So
the people doing
I
the science in the labs and they're in
Oh.
there for 3 hours at night
biological.
What is that
I
about?
mean, I don't-
dissecting birds or something?
I mean, I give them an amazing amount of credit. It's just that wasn't going to be me. I mean, can you imagine some of these students right now at UCSD? Freaking geniuses. and we got a microphone where we're
Dude.
gonna break down somebody's freaking slug.
And also, to your point, you can the classes in communications.
Oh,
It's
it's
not
the best.
exactly NASA. Is that fair to say? I mean, we're not exactly being asked how to the physics of how
Did
the
you ever
world.
did you ever
spins.
have to do like
math?
in one of your classes, one of the communications classes, it was presenting in front of the class. I did this at San Diego State University.
Okay. Present what?
Anything
Oh
you
yeah,
wanted.
like speaking, like public speaking.
Yeah, but it was like a presentation on whatever it is that you want.
Interesting.
But the point was you had to do it in front of class.
I hate that. You know,
Oh,
I
no,
hate public speaking.
But how? Yeah, you
Despise
said
it.
that before. I don't get that.
Despise it. Absolutely hate it. Would do if that
I
was
don't
my
care for
career,
it
I would
either.
have changed.
I don't care for it either. But the weird thing is when you're in a studio and you have a mic and there's only a couple people that you
It's
see,
not public
you
speaking.
pay zero attention to like there's actually an audience that's out there.
100%.
Or somebody cursing at you at YouTube until you look on YouTube and you're like, oh yeah,
Yes.
there are people that are listening
Dude,
to
the
this.
idea of all the eyes on you.
Mhm.
You know, there's 100 people out there, and you're like, do I look the part? Am I going to say it right? And it always works out.
Yeah.
I believe the two most common fears of people, as we've gone
Public
maybe a little
speaking.
off, public speaking and heights.
100%.
Public
Yeah,
speaking and
heights.
heights. I honestly believe the two biggest fears of humans
Is
in general.
speaking really high up.
Oh, that would be the worst, dude.
Yeah.
That would be terrible.
You're public speaking while you're bungee jumping.
I would
I
never.
would like everybody's
Now,
attention.
You have done heights related things.
I've
This
skydived.
shocked me.
I
You
know.
jumped out of a plane
Yeah, I know.
at your own
Would you ever do
fruition.
it, Brent?
No, I'm afraid of heights. I'm
You know,
one of
you
those
know,
people.
you know what's odd? The odd one to me is like bungee jumping. I would never do, but for some reason, skydiving was like, okay, that one, like I could justify. I could never do bungee jumping.
More faith in the
Dude.
parachute than the cord.
I
Here's
guess,
the deal.
I don't know.
If you
the
told
bungee jumping.
if you put $100,000 in bills
Oh, your
on
ass
the
would be
table,
up there.
I'm not going
Oh,
on.
you would be
I
up
am
there.
not going. Brent wasn't going to put on an Aaron Rodgers jersey for $250 million.
I respect that.
We were,
Thank you.
because
You're the first
I
one.
respect
right? But I'm telling you, dude. Here's the thing: the 100K
I
is
would
great
put
until
on-
you go
I
splat.
would put on a Charger jersey for 10 bills so then I could bring the team back down.
10 bill.
Yeah, that's
Hold
all I
on.
need.
Now my 100K, but you're like, yes, you would. What would it take for you to put on a Charger jersey and wear it all week here on San Diego Sports 760?
I wouldn't do it. I just
So
wouldn't
you're
do it.
Brent.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it.
There's a
That
price.
piece- no, that piece of S. Come on, I wouldn't do it. I really wouldn't
Let's
do
get
it.
a GoFundMe. And we'll take the money.
Yeah.
For sports in San Diego.
And you can go up and do you would jump out of a plane for 100K.
No.
Yes, you would.
I would not.
Brother, yes, you would.
Dude,
If
what
I
if
had your
die?
mortgage statement and I was just like, listen, we're taking 100K off of that, or I just said that you're
What
doing
mortgage?
this with this, whatever the case is.
A mortgage.
That's right. You pay everything cash.
I walked
So I
in.
walked into a bank
I walked in with
like it was
do you need?
1987 and said, how much is that Corolla? I got a suitcase of
100K is a lot of
cash.
money.
Yeah.
I've never seen $100,000.
I will tell you something for those who have gone skydiving, probably agree with this. I did it here. It was in San Diego. You could basically see the border. I think it was Otay. I think Otay is where I did
Did
it.
you crash?
Yeah, man. By far the worst part about the skydiving, by
Jumping
far
out of the
not
plane?
by far not even close, was the anticipation
I buy it.
to you
Of course.
actually going. So if there's like 15
Of
people going,
course.
and I was number 12,
Oh my gosh.
so it was like
Well, I don't want to be number one.
it was just this like that time that it took, even the plane going up in elevation, and they would just look like, okay, we're 1,000 feet up. How high are we going? And
What-
you just kind of
What
continue
did they
to go.
roughly?
I don't know.
5-10K?
Yeah, something like that. I can't
Okay.
remember.
Were you solo or were you like attached to
Oh,
somebody?
you had to be with a person, right? Solo. What do you do? Like,
Brother, that,
because how do you know what to do? I see what you're
Well,
saying.
they,
like,
they give you a course, John. They don't just put you
Dude,
on
I
a
ain't
plane and
going
go,
on
here's your
YouTube.
shoot, go.
you can't even do a course. You'd have to do like X amount of jumps to do
gotcha.
something solo.
So they
it's
won't
not
let
even-
you go solo
it's
until you've
certified.
jumped.
If I
Tandem.
had the opportunity to get like, let's do a triple decker here. Like, let's get 2 professionals. I would have done it. You know, like if I could get, he has one, I have one. Everybody just has a parachute. But yeah, you get one guy that you're.
Would you do it again?
You know, it would be tougher to do it the second time than the first time, because the first time I didn't know what to expect. Now I know what to expect. It would have to take a lot, and maybe somebody I'm really close with that's like, hey, I really want to do this. I don't want to do it alone. It'd have to take something like that.
What was it in your life
No
where
idea.
you're like, hey, I need to pick up some bananas from the grocery store, and oh, by the way, I want to jump out of a plane? Because you weren't 18.
No, this was probably
Right.
7-8 years ago, something like that. Maybe 6 years ago, something like that.
This was last night. I did this yesterday. Anyway,
I don't know. It was just like let's try it.
Do you like public speaking?
Yeah, I don't mind public speaking, but not like
I can see you doing
no,
public
just
speaking.
this
I
is
can
more.
see
This
it.
is more our environment.
You know who's amazing at public speaking?
Who's that?
Is my my what is the word for someone I work with in play? Say Rich Ornberger. But what was I gonna say?
Colleague?
No, but not colleague.
Partner
Rich
on
is
the broadcast?
partner. Thank
Partner,
you.
yeah.
My partner on Aztec broadcast, Rich Ornberger, is an incredible
Yeah.
public speaker.
Yeah, he
Just
seems very
absolutely
natural.
incredible.
Can be himself.
Yeah.
The funny thing, Alan, is he's going to tell us how much he hates public speaking, and then in like a month and a half, he's going to go, "Oh, guys, I got to leave early because I have to go MC a
August
San Diego
27th.
State football
I haven't told Usher.
event."
Let me tell you something.
August 27th. I got to go to.
Where are you? What part of town?
I'll tell you where I am. That huge boat, the Midway.
Oh, that's awesome.
it's not a great description.
That made it sound like
It's very
like
simplified.
like a kayak or something.
No, it's bigger. It's even bigger now.
That's awesome. That's a cool event.
Well,
So
I was
we
trying to get
broadcasting from there.
Well, I was trying to arrange that, but we can't.
There's no.
It's I'll tell you off air. I think it's the I don't
I think I'm getting
it's
Starlink.
set
I think
up
I'm getting Starlink.
so we could bring the internet with us.
I think I'm getting Starlink because multiple reasons, but that reason especially, I just want
Yeah.
to be able to be anywhere. That's all.
I don't
And
know
not
if we
have an
can
issue.
get on the ship at the hours we would need to in order to do the show.
Oh, gotcha.
Because
gotcha,
I think
gotcha.
they have like actual
Yeah,
tourists
yeah.
on the boat, and then there's an event in
Tell
the
them
evening
you're
time.
freaking say, hey, listen, I'm John Schaefer.
I played baseball in high school for a year before I tore
Remember
my meniscus.
Pudge?
What?
That's what you
remember
tell 'em.
Pudge? Yeah, you should see my arm, dude. All right, can we hear from Joe Musgrove? We'll do it on the other side. Kyle Glaser, the veteran baseball reporter, will join us coming up at 5 p.m. We'll give away 311 tickets coming up next. Schaefer and Slee will stay with us.
All right, teachers make a difference each and every day. Now's your chance to say thank you. iHeartRadio's Thank a Teacher, powered by Donors Choose. Nominate an outstanding public school teacher who goes above and beyond for students. They could be one of our $5,000 winners for classroom supplies and resources. Teachers give so much. Now it's our turn to give back. Nominate a teacher at iHeartRadio.com/teachers. Again, iHeartRadio.com/teachers. Very, very cool program iHeart is a part of.
We're giving away 311 tickets in about 10 minutes. We have a fascinating Nick Pivetta development. This from Kevin Acey, our Padres insider. It's now 2 tweets, Alan. The first from Kevin 5 minutes ago. There is possible good news regarding Nick Pivetta. Remember, he left the mound today in Lake Elsinore. He threw 20-plus pitches in the bullpen after leaving today's rehab start in Lake Elsinore. Key will be how he feels tomorrow and how soon he can get back on the mound. He went on to say, Kevin did, he felt discomfort on the mound. Then he felt okay. It happens sometimes when working back from an arm injury. He let loose in the bullpen and evidently did not feel the same thing he did while in the game. So there's some optimism he'll be able to resume rehab. I put that all together. I believe, you heard what I've said off the air. I haven't said it yet on the air.
Okay.
I believe Nick Pivetta screwed up the count. There were 2 outs and 2 strikes. He threw what appeared to be a strike. I think he tried to sell a strike, didn't get it, and left the mound. I could be dead wrong. That's what I believe happened today in Lake Elsinore.
I don't believe that at all.
But he threw a bullpen after leaving with injury. That's unprecedented. You do not suffer an apparent arm injury and throw a bullpen. Ever.
I don't know what the hell to think. I mean, to me, it's just too odd to see a starting pitcher leave. Let's say, okay, he didn't get the strike call, and he's like, he's walking it off. He's trying to sell it.
Or maybe
I've never seen a starting pitcher go back to obviously not go back to the mound and say, I'm going to finish that. And the problem with Nick Pivetta is the only reason why he's in Lake Elsinore is because he hasn't pitched in 4 months. So every single pitch he throws, you're asking the question of, like, is he healthy or is he not? Is he good to go or is he not? And I know what you're saying. I mean, I've
never heard of a pitcher pitching after leaving a rehab outing due to an apparent injury in a bullpen without dealing with the doctors and trainers associated with the Padres in San Diego.
I also haven't heard of a pitcher on a 2-2 count that doesn't get the call, that continues to walk off of the mound and goes into the dugout. I also have never heard of that. This is the part where, again, we said this a little bit earlier. AC is going to do as good as anybody to try to clear it up. Can someone just clear this up? And is it as simple as, and maybe we'll hear from Craig Stammen before they play the Diamondbacks. That might be the time. But, brother.
Well, what if he pitches in 5 days?
That's a very, very confusing scenario.
Let me ask you this. What if he pitches again in 5 days? How do we explain what happened?
But didn't he explain what happened?
Felt discomfort and then pitched a bullpen? That's interesting.
Can he, as part of his rehab, feel something? Say, wait a minute here. Did something just happen? Goes to the dugout, sits with the trainers. They have a conversation. All right, you want to throw another one and see if you're feeling something?
I guess the answer is yes.
Feel it that time.
Happened.
You throw it again. I didn't feel it this time. Okay, let's keep going. That to me just seems more likely.
If he pitches again in 5 days, something would be up with this apparent discomfort, in my opinion, because you've been off the mound for 5 months and now you had discomfort. Whatever.
I just know that when I watched that video, the assumption was just very simple, especially because, like we said, nobody has told us anything. You just thought, that's it. This didn't go as planned.
I agree.
Pavetta's walking off, and obviously he's got an issue.
But the 5 hours of hearing nothing made it fishier by the moment to me, the way that whole thing played out. And still is very odd.
Yeah, I don't
It's
understand.
very odd. Let's hear from Joe Musgrove. We've got Kyle Glaser joining us at 5 p.m.
By the way, this is from Marty Caswell on X. Does a phenomenal job, obviously, continuing to cover the Padres. So this audio, actually, this is on YouTube, I think on her YouTube page.
Okay, so this initially is on Musgrove, by the way, won a couple of innings today in Lake Elsinore as well. And this was him after that appearance on how he feels.
How'd you feel about today?
Good. I think a big check mark is just getting in there and getting in the pace and the tempo of a normal start and kind of getting your times back in line, getting comfortable being on the mound with the pitch clock. Obviously having hitters in the box, so checked off a lot of things, physically feel great. yeah, good day.
Second inning, not as sharp as the first. Is that part of it too? Can you speak?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a long time since I've been on a mound. I think there's a little bit of that like adrenaline dump in the first inning. Physically, don't feel as good going out for the second. Took me a minute to get command. Made some good pitches in that inning too that could swing the count one way or the other. Felt like I made good pitches on the 2 base hits I gave up, just not really getting ahead in the count with breaking balls and putting myself in poor counts. But overall, I felt like I executed a lot of my pitches well. The secondary stuff wasn't quite as sharp execution-wise. The shapes felt good, but just didn't get them to the spots I needed to.
How about Vila? How did that feel? Did you get?
I didn't see what they were. But
some 93s and 4s.
Yeah, I mean that's about where I've been. I've been like 2 to 5, anywhere in that range. Haven't done 3 ups, so I don't know what my velo was in the last inning, but I felt like I was maintaining decently well.
All right. Joe Musgrove, those
Okay.
words.
Hey, and he sounds upbeat, and he sounds kind of excited that he's got to this point. He sounds like somebody that, let's just say, I think it was a promising start here for Joe Musgrove, and we'll see what it means. It's tough to when you have a pitcher like Musgrove, and it just kind of tells you where the Padres were before the trade deadline. If you were depending on Nick Pivetta and Joe Musgrove hasn't pitched since October 2024. Pivetta, since we haven't seen since the first month of the season.
Yeah.
It just shows you the dire straits that the Padres were with their rotation. Well, now they can worry a little bit less. There's going to be a little bit less dependency, I think, on those 2 pitchers. And I'm not telling you that it's a luxury. They're still very, very important, but they become more of a luxury than a necessity before the trade deadline.
Yeah, completely, because you had Ray, you had Casey Mize. Let's hear as well from Joe Musgrove on the moves. Speaking of Mize and Ray, let's get Joe Musgrove's thoughts on that.
What did you think about what the team did yesterday at the deadline, getting 2 starting pitchers to kind of go with waiting for you and Nick to kind of get?
Yeah, it's great. I mean, our offense has worked their ass off this year to get things right. And the pitching staff has kind of had to piece it together lately. A lot of that, responsibility falls on me and Nick. Injuries happen, but this team counted on us being there and being a part of that rotation. And him and I are doing everything we can to get back as soon as we can. But having some reinforcements come in, especially guys like that have done it for a while at a high level. Robbie's track record speaks for itself. Casey being a first overall pick and kind of coming into his own in the league as a starter. Really good, and then heard a lot of good things about the teams they came from, about work ethic and just quality of person, so excited to have them.
Does that, having them, allow you to kind of like just settle into the schedule? You don't have to rush, you don't have to cut a corner. There's reinforcements now.
I mean, I didn't plan on cutting any corners to begin with. The rush thing is not really up to me. I mean, if I could, I would rush back and be back sooner than possible, but the staff and AJ and them got a plan for us to get there. This does make it, give us a little more peace of mind that, like, not everyone's holding their breath waiting for us to get back, that they got a little bit of help until we can get back. But, the way that our rotation will round out when me and Nick get back in the rotation, I feel really confident about it.
All right. That's, again, I think what he just said about taking a little bit of pressure off of Pivetta and Musgrove, that it's not all on their shoulders, and that wouldn't be fair to them. They've been injured, obviously, all season long for the most part, other than Pivetta, but still on pins and needles to see if these guys can be a part of the mix. I mean, go look at some of these starting rotations around all of baseball. If you're going to be in the postseason, we said this, we're wasting our time if they're not adding starting pitching.
Yep.
You just can't. You're not getting out of a wild card round. You're not getting into the playoffs. So now they got a little bit of reinforcements now coming.
All right, call right now. Who wants 311 tickets August 19th? North Island Credit Union Amphitheaters, 311 and Dirty Heads, August 19th. If you want a free 4-pack of tickets to that concert, be caller number 4 right now. We have 4 free tickets to see 311 here in San Diego. 877-767-4760. Call right now, though. 877-767-4760 if you want 4 free tickets to see 311 here in San Diego. On the other side, Kyle Glaser, veteran baseball writer and reporter, will join us coming up next on Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app.
Here's what's trending from the iHeart Sports Network, presented by iHeartAdvertising.com. The Padres and Diamondbacks are getting set for Game 2 of their series tonight. Then Arizona, it's going to be Randy Vasquez going against Eduardo Rodriguez. First pitch is at 6:40. We had a couple big NFL extensions today. Bijan Robinson and the Falcons agreed on a 3-year extension worth $75 million. 51 of that was guaranteed, and that makes him the highest paid running back in NFL history. Then Baltimore and wideout Dave Flowers agreed on a 4-year deal worth up $140 million. 108 of that was guaranteed. And in college football news, we had the college football preseason coaches poll came out today. Ohio State was number 1, followed by Oregon. Then Georgia, Texas, and Notre Dame rounded out the top 5. Run a business and not thinking about radio? Think again, because people are listening to radio more today than they did 20 years ago. And only iHeartRadio connects with more Americans than TV, digital, and even social. Learn how radio can help your business. Call 844-844-iHeart.
All right, final hour and a good one lined up. We've got Kyle Glaser, the veteran baseball writer, reporter, with us to start the hour. Cody Stavenhagen with The Athletic covers the Tigers. We'll talk more about the addition of Casey Mize for San Diego coming up as well at 5:30. But Kyle, always appreciate your time. I actually saw Kyle this past weekend out at Petco Park. Of all places, by the way, the playground. That's how we were breaking down the game. We both have young children, so we saw each other in the playground. But I want to start, Kyle, with what we're learning this afternoon about Nick Pivetta. Kevin Acee reporting he did experience discomfort, but then did throw a bullpen or a side session after his outing. What do you make of how this all played out, and how concerning do you see it?
It's always concerning when a pitcher walks off the mound in the middle of an at-bat. I think him going out and throwing in the bullpen and not having any issues is certainly encouraging, but you want to see how he's able to compete in game situations, really throwing full bore. As much as guys talk about, throwing bullpens, it's different when you have that adrenaline in you and guys in the batter. So it's definitely concerning. Need to see what he looks like in his next rehab start, because you certainly don't want this to grow into something bigger. And I've mentioned this before, flexor strains are often preludes to something much more serious. They're not minor injuries, so the Padres need to manage this very carefully.
Kyle, you surprised kind of very limited information right after. We just got this tweet from Kevin Acee probably in the last half hour or so. You read into that at all, or is this just one of those things? All right, they're going to give information when they need to. Craig Stammen will obviously talk before the Padres take on the Diamondbacks. I felt like a lack of information for a player that we're all watching to see a rehab start literally just walks off the field.
Yeah, some of it is just a function of the minor leagues. I want to give credit to, my longtime colleague Marty Caswell for being there and getting the footage and seeing it. But we'll have more information, coming from the team here the next day or two. It's pretty standard that when something happens in the minor leagues, you just know kind of what happened on the surface and you get more info in 24 to 48 hours. That's pretty standard.
All right, so Kyle Glaser is with us right now. Let's talk about some of these moves. Actually, one more on Pivetta. It's atypical to throw a side after an outing coming back from a rehab, would it not be?
To give him your theory.
I don't think it's right, because Kevin Acee is reporting that he felt discomfort, and then Bob Nightingale is reporting that he felt tightness. So I think he felt it. And to Kyle's point, he's dealing with a serious injury. But when you're dealing with an injury and you feel tightness, do you immediately go to a side session like that, or would you typically work with a training staff before doing that?
You typically work with a training staff. And again, I think we'll find out a little more about what that exact timeline looked like, the time difference between, when he walked off the mound and when he threw out side session. Because sometimes you talk with a trainer, get a little work done and say, hey, I feel okay. I want to go out and throw and just see how it feels. And he went out and threw the bullpen, and all reports are initially that he felt okay. But we also have to see how he feels tomorrow. It's always the day after and even the day after that when we really, really know where a pitcher stands. So, again, I think it's certainly a concerning series of developments. I would say we should withhold any sweeping judgments until the next 24 to 48 hours.
Kyle Glaser, a veteran baseball reporter, taking some time to join us here on the Schaefer and Sliwa Show. Kyle, how do you feel today about the San Diego Padres than you did 48 hours ago? So obviously before the trades for Casey Mize and Robbie Ray, just how do you feel of what the Padres were able to add before the trade deadline and the type of impact you think that's going to have the rest of the way?
Yeah, look, this is a very, very, very good trade deadline for the Padres. They needed starting pitching more than anything else. They had limited resources to work with in terms of prospects in the farm system, and they didn't get distracted and go chase down players who would have been luxuries without addressing their biggest needs. They stayed laser focused on what they needed, and they got two really, really good starting pitchers who are capable of pitching in big situations. You would feel fully comfortable handing Robbie Ray the ball in Game 2 of a playoff series and Casey Mize the ball in Game 3 of a playoff series. So they needed starters who could give them 6-7 consistently, who would be able to pitch in big games, and they got them. They paid a little higher price than what market price was for the other rental starters, but there's no question that the Padres are a better team today than they were 48 hours ago.
You've covered the minor leagues so extensively. I mean, you worked for a long time at Baseball America. When you look at the players that were that depart, right, in these deals, who is the one that you see as the player that has the highest ceiling that has departed the organization?
Yeah, it is Cash Mayfield. He was the Padres' first-round pick 2 years ago. He went to Detroit in the Casey Mize deal. He's a very talented young left-handed starter, arrow up all the way. Velocity ticked up 1.5 miles per hour this year. The changeup's always been good. The slider's sharpening. We're seeing, again, he's throwing strikes. The walk rate's improving. Everything you want to see from a young left-handed pitcher, he's making those strides. And he has a chance, I think, in 3 or 4 years to be one of those guys you look at and say, it'd be kind of nice to have him in a Padres uniform right now, because I do think he will be a very, very good pitcher in Major League Baseball, a very good starting pitcher. But the Padres made the decision that they wanted to, really go for it this year. In order to do that, they needed to add a second starter, and this was the price to do it.
Just looking at the standings here, and obviously there was so much attention over this last 30 days on the trade deadline, and Padres go 8-1 to Miami, Colorado, and San Francisco to at least put themselves in a position where Preller decides to buy. How do you feel about the Padres' chances now? Arizona, Philadelphia, Miami still, obviously on the heels of the San Diego Padres. You got some really good competition that is either in front of San Diego or right behind them. How do you feel about these next couple of months based on some of these moves?
Yeah, there's no question the Padres' chances have improved, right? Pitching chaos, which we've seen them employ over the last couple of weeks, it's been a huge success, and that's a testament to Craig Stammen and his staff piecing together a pitching plan 3 out of every 5 days. But we see this in the postseason sometimes, and other teams have employed it. It doesn't work past about the 3-week mark just because the guys really start to get gassed. You had to add multiple starting pitchers here. So there's no question they're in a much better position than they were, and I think their chances have improved. That said, Philadelphia has been very up and down this year to the extremes, but I still think they will be a playoff team when all said and done. There's too much talent there. And realistically, covering the Arizona Diamondbacks for MLB.com for a couple series here, that's a good baseball team that can beat you in a lot of different ways, has a lot of talent up and down the lineup, defense, base running. I mean, I would not, count them out. And frankly, right now, they're the team the Padres are chasing. So on the one hand, I think the Padres' chances have increased, but I am not at a place where I can say, oh, yeah, they are clearly better than Arizona or Philadelphia now. I don't quite believe that yet.
Kyle Glaser, again, the veteran baseball reporter doing work with MLB.com, joining us right now on Schaefer and Sliwa. From the position you see it, like how high stakes of a game is AJ Preller playing, so to speak? He had no other choice. He's a game out. But by going for rentals in Ray and Mize, if they were to be on the outside looking into your point, if Philadelphia and Arizona just outperform them down the stretch, what are the ramifications, if any, organizationally? Again, there's new ownership group that's coming in at some point, but can this be overcome? How much of a disappointment would it be, or failure, even if they don't make the postseason?
I mean, they would be the first to tell you that the season would be a failure if they don't make the playoffs. I mean, this is a team that has coming off back-to-back 90-win seasons, has made the playoffs 4 out of 6 years, and intends to be a playoff contender year in and year out. So they would be the first ones to tell you they feel like it's a failure if they don't make the playoffs. There's no question that when you make these kind of acquisitions for rentals, at the bare minimum, you want them to be guys who put you over the top and get you into the playoffs, and preferably, win multiple series. If the Padres fall short and don't even get into the postseason after these additions, yeah, it's going to hurt that much more because, again, I understand you make these additions, and these are very high-end pitchers. Don't get me wrong with Mize and Ray, but look, there's always a chance the young guys you trade away hurt you, and we've seen that happen a lot with the Padres over the years, and if you don't make the playoffs, it just is going to sting that much more because you feel like you didn't really get anything out of it.
Kyle, what are is the expectation now, you think, just get in and just kind of see where the cards play from there? And we've obviously seen it in baseball. Teams, you could be a wild card team that gets in and go on a run. You could be a team that wins 100 games. You could be out in the divisional round. So I'm just kind of curious how you kind of see the Padres now and how some of their expectations have changed, or maybe they haven't changed according to what they were able to do.
Yeah, realistically, winning the division was never in reach. The Dodgers have won the division 12 of the last 13 years. Going in that outlasting them over 162 is just not really a possibility. For the Padres, it's always, get the best wild card seeding you can and go from there. And that hasn't really changed here. I will be interested to see what they're capable of doing. In theory, if Musgrove and Pivetta come back and you can roll out King, Mize, Ray, Musgrove, Pivetta, that's a pretty darn good starting five that can maybe carry you through the postseason a little bit and surprise some teams. But if, Pivetta and Musgrove aren't 100% when they come back and Michael King continues to struggle with his command, the Padres could be headed for a very quick wild card round exit. I think there's a lot of variability in what this team is going to be capable of, and a big part of it is going to be the health of this rotation.
I'm curious. I guess I'll just ask you to speculate. Like, this Pivetta thing is really fascinating. Everyone's rooting for his health. Nobody wants to see him on the sidelines, but if he's not back by this certain date, all of a sudden his contract status is uncertain for 2027 and beyond. Does that throw anything additional into it, right? Because it was something about if you miss 130 consecutive days, essentially his contract could be voided for 2027 and 2028. So how do you see that in this whole, scenario playing out?
I don't want to go there yet. I think we need to learn a little more about the severity of his injury and what happened, because it could very well be a moot point. So I really think we need to wait on more information to emerge, which, again, I expect to come out next 24 to 40 hours about exactly what happened, what he's dealing with, and what the timeline looks like.
Kyle, last one for me on the Padres offense, who has been a lot better. Their offense just up and down has been a lot better over the last 30 days or so. How sustainable do you think that is? When you look at this lineup and see the whether it's Manny Machado or kind of go down the list of some of the different players for the Padres right now, but you got a lot of different players that have been coming through. Do you believe in it? Do you believe that this can be an offense that kind of carries them for the next couple of months?
Let me put it this way. They were 30th in baseball in pretty much every category through July 2nd. And then from July 2nd through August 2nd, that 1 month period, they were first in the majors in batting average after being 30th. They were top 3 in runs, top 5 in OPS. The reality is they're somewhere in the middle. This offense with these players should never have been the worst offense in baseball. They're also not a top 5 offense in baseball. Realistically, this is a middle, at that 10 to 20 range caliber of offense. I expect that's where they'll settle in. They weren't as bad as they appear to be early. They're not this juggernaut that's the best in baseball that they've appeared to be over the last month. The reality is they at their best, they're a solid offense. And with the bullpen they have and the starting pitching additions they've made, in theory, that should be enough. But they've got to find some consistency, which, as we know, has been a problem for this offense all season long.
Yeah, it's a great point. I think it will be enough if they can – if they get the pitching that they have added, and Ray and Mize can help carry the way. But it's not. This is no formality, by the way. I think if the Padres make the postseason, again, trailing Arizona right now, trailing Philadelphia, it could come down to the very end of the season. Kyle, appreciate you taking time for us as always here in San Diego on 760. Great seeing you this weekend. We'll do it again soon. All right.
Sounds good. Anytime, guys.
Thank you, man.
All right, Kyle Glaser used to be with Baseball America.
So you guys saw each other at Petco
in the playground.
So you were going.
I was just there.
One of the
I was
slides,
just there watching kids,
but you didn't have
with my child.
Oh, okay. I thought you would go down the slide, and there's just a thing that you do.
Can
a tradition.
Go down the slide. I find it odd. I think you should let the kid. You've seen they got the world's largest bat slide. That's like saying I have the world's largest I mean, it's very random that
Yeah.
they have a large bat that's also a slide in the
It's awesome.
playground. It's like the world's, but it's an amazing playground for kids. They can have like hundreds of kids in there.
Yeah, I know.
Anyway, the
Place is legit.
the problem is though, like it's 3-2 Giants, and Freddie Fermin's hitting a home run. And I'm watching it from a playground. So that, and Kyle
Not
Glaser
ideal.
was experiencing the same thing.
Not ideal.
All right, we're gonna react to that. Plus,
Take care of the kids.
I know it's
Yeah,
about the
you're
kids, for the kids. Cody Stavenhagen from The Athletic covers the Tigers. His thoughts on Casey Mize heading west. We'll react to what Kyle Glaser just had to tell us as well about the Padres at the deadline. We're giving away a 4-pack of tickets to see Luke Bryan and Jason Aldeana. We'll tell you how to win those tickets coming up next on Schaefer and Sliwa.
All right, with the iHeartRadio app, you can stream us wherever you are 24 hours a day. Just search for San Diego Sports 760 to stream us live all day, every day. You can leave your comments for us using the talkback microphone. Tell us what you liked, what you didn't like, what you want us to talk about. Make us a preset so we can pop up each time you open up the app. San Diego Sports 760, always live on the iHeartRadio app.
I am so glad you mentioned the app, because if you use it right now, you can win a 4-pack of tickets to see Luke Bryan and Jason Aldean August 16th at Petco. This is an amazing giveaway. Here's how you're eligible. Open the iHeart app, search for San Diego Sports 760, click the red talkback mic, and tell us why you want to see the show. That's it. Your name and why you want to see the show. Luke Bryan and Jason Aldean. One of you that does that right now is going to win that 4-pack of tickets. So open the iHeartRadio app right now. Tell us why you want to see Luke Bryan and Jason Aldean for a chance to win that free 4-pack. All right, so do we have any more certainty on Nick Pivetta? We have reporting on Nick Pivetta. Kevin Acey saying he felt discomfort, but through that side session and is okay. Bob Nightingale reporting he felt discomfort or tightness, but thinks that he is okay. Will we take that on its face? Is he, quote unquote, okay after today?
I'll take, I think what Glaser said too about just saying, hey, wait 24 to 48 hours is probably the right thing to do. And based off of that, we'll get some real information. But I don't know, is AC running with, there is possibly good news regarding Nick Pivetta. I would just imagine that what maybe you thought it was going to be versus where we're sitting today is maybe a little bit of hope there in regards to that. So, let's see how it plays out, but I think Glaser saying pump the brakes here for a second. I think, something to take away from today is that Musgrove did feel good, did look good. So let's wait on the Pivetta piece of it. I mean, if I'm being completely honest too, it's obviously not a good sign just to see Pivetta walk off of a mound and then try to throw 20 more pitches. So it's impossible not to have some doubts towards that.
Right. And then Kyle went down the path, and he didn't say it, but I will. Like he said, it's a flexor strain is a serious injury. It's an elbow injury. And what happens after a flexor strain is what we've all seen with pitchers in baseball. And there might just come a point where you just go out there and you do it until you can't anymore. This is what Joe Musgrove did in 2024. The problem with that is it's a bit of a ticking clock. Every single time you use it, there's a chance you're going to re-injure it or injure it more. But maybe that's the position that they're in.
Mentally as a pitcher?
I know, knowing that.
Can you imagine just like going out, and the Musgrove one is basically exactly how it played out, correct?
Yep.
He knew there was going to come a time where it's
going to tear.
It's going to tear. And can you imagine what you have to, every single pitch I throw? I mean, let alone I'm facing some of the best athletes in the world on the other side.
Right.
Let alone I got to be strategic. Let alone I have to be, I'm playing this chess match against literally the best athletes in the world. And oh, by the way, every single time I throw the ball,
there's a shot.
There's a shot that I'm out for 12 to 18 months.
If not longer. Look at Joe Musgrove. It's now close to 24. And remember, Musgrove said something interesting about Pivetta.
The freaking mental game of that.
Well, Pivetta said something, Musgrove said something interesting we didn't play, but you played it for me off air, which was Musgrove commenting on Pivetta and saying, at times he hasn't fully let it go, let loose, trusted it. I'm paraphrasing, but he did say that. And that goes back to what he's dealing with. Because the idea of if you do more damage to your elbow by letting it go, you're letting it go.
Let me throw another layer into this for Pivetta.
Okay. Yeah, the money aspect. He's got to get back on the mound.
Brother, you're talking $32 million
insane money
on the line every pitch that he throws.
Which means, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, let's just say he says, I'm good.
Okay.
They continue the rehab process. Mm-hmm. It's successful enough that he's pitching before this date, August 22nd, whatever, he throws. He goes out there, he's ineffective, he's hurt. Gosh forbid something even worse. But he's ineffective or hurt, whatever. Yeah. And that's the only time he pitches this year. But he made it within the 130-day window. I think that then opts him into the deal.
Yeah, here's what I would do. I would get to that date, and then I'd throw left-handed just to get paid, and then say, I'm calling it a day. I just say that because for Nick Pivetta, it's imagine the situation of this thing could tear at any moment. Plus, I got to look good while I'm doing it. Plus, I'm going up against other major leaguers. Plus, I'm trying to help the Padres on a potential playoff run.
Absolutely.
Plus, I got 32 effing freaking $1 million also on the line.
It's not
It's a lot for Nick
so
Pivetta.
much money. I don't know
Like,
what Pivetta has earned in his career.
It's difficult enough to just, I'm a pitcher and I got to go get some outs. That's enough of a migraine and a headache in itself. Add all these other layers to it. That's wild.
I just wanted to look for like a point of comparison, by the way. Like, in sports, we're always like, these athletes make like $70 million a year. Like Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, I don't know what he makes, but it's like $70 million a year. LeBron James at times has made like 60 or 70 million a year. Not anymore. He's making like 3 or 4. But you get my point. Like, I don't think Pivetta has earned $32 million in his career, or it's close. I don't have it in front of me. But think about that. Like, he's owed $32 million the next 2 years. Now he's making 20 roughly this year, but like $32 million is a ridiculous amount of money, even if you've earned 300 or 400 million. But he hasn't earned 300 or 400 million, so it's a ridiculous amount of money that's on the line for him based on this elbow.
That's why we've talked about it before, but Walker Buehler, this guy never got
he never got the
huge
big
long-term deal.
You're right.
And he was one of the absolute studs in all of baseball, an absolute warrior, and still kind of, this is what he's doing. He's just grinding it out for the San Diego Padres as he's done in his career, and never got the real payday.
You know his career earnings? Walker Buehler, throw out a number if you'd like to.
I think we did this before.
I know, so let's do it again.
Is it like 30?
45.
45.
But to your point, of his caliber, at his ceiling, at his heights,
what he's accomplished, his resume.
There's dudes making 45 a year
to
pitch in the major leagues. And now I need to know Pivetta's career earnings real quick, because I do think it puts it in perspective. And Pivetta's career earnings
30
are
maybe?
38.
There you go.
And he's got 32 on the line based on the health of his elbow right now. Just insane.
Are you sure that 38's not including the 16, or it is?
Because
it probably would include this year's money.
It's including this year's money.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
All right. On the other side, let's talk about Casey Mize to the Padres with a reporter that covers the Tigers for The Athletic, Cody Stavenhagen, on the Mize move for the Padres. That's next on San Diego Sports 760.
Here's what's trending from the iHeart Sports Network, presented by iHeartAdvertising.com. The Padres and Diamondbacks are getting set for Game 2 of their series tonight in Arizona. It's going to be Randy Vasquez going against Eduardo Rodriguez. First pitch is at 6:40. In the NFL, we had a couple big extensions today. Bijan Robinson and the Falcons agreed on a 3-year extension worth $75 million. That makes him the highest paid running back in NFL history. Then Baltimore and wideout Zay Flowers agreed on a 4-year extension worth $140 million. In college football, we had the first college football preseason coaches poll came out today. Ohio State was number 1. Oregon was number 2. They were followed by Georgia, Texas, and Notre Dame in the top 5. Run a business and not thinking about radio? Think again, because people are listening to radio more today than they did 20 years ago. And only iHeartRadio connects with more Americans than TV, digital, and even social. Learn how radio can help your business. Call 844-844-iHeart.
All right, Padres Diamondbacks Game 2 coming up. We're learning that Casey Mize is scheduled to throw and start for the Padres tomorrow. I think Robbie Ray's going Friday, by the way, against Houston. It's great to be joined by Cody Stavenhagen. He covers the Tigers for The Athletic. He joins us right now, Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760. Cody, we appreciate you taking time for us. I just want to actually start with the reaction in Detroit to, I guess, all the moves, but specifically actually the Skubal move. I mean, what is the reaction of the fan base to that move and the return they received, and whether they could have done better or not, or how did that all play out?
Yeah, it's such a big, complicated thing, and I think some of the reaction has also been all over the place. I think by the time the trade deadline got here, a lot of people in Detroit were resigned to the fact the Tigers were going to trade Tarik Skubal. They knew they weren't going to be able to extend them. They knew the team was where it was, and even though they're still within striking distance, they have some flaws. The bullpen's not very good. So it wasn't a stunner that the Tigers made the decision to trade Skubal. As far as the return, it depends who you talk to. There are certainly people who wonder, well, why didn't Scott Harris take it down to the wire? Hearing Scott Harris explain it yesterday, he felt the best offers were all on the table. He felt a player like Skubal at the top of the market. He didn't think the market was going to change much. No one was pivoting to or from Tarik Skubal. So he got an offer from the Dodgers he liked, and he took it. We can always wonder if they would have done more, but they got 3 quality players, 2 of them top 100, top 70 prospects. First time that's happened since at least 2004 in return for a rental player. So they had some talent to their organization. Obviously, it came at the cost of giving the Dodgers Tarik Skubal, and it's still a little bittersweet to see a 2-time Cy Young winner leave town.
Yeah, and I do want to get to Casey Mize. Yep. I mean, obviously for the Padres, it's going to be, critical to see what kind of player he is. But let me just follow up to one question there. Are you surprised that, and let's just kind of use the Brewers because that's been part of the conversation. Tampa was part of the conversation. Are you surprised other teams were not more aggressive, even though they probably knew he was a rental?
Yeah, I think it's hard to say without knowing for a fact all the offers that were on the table. My understanding is the Tigers kind of really liked the Dodgers system, and maybe the Brewers as well, but they focused a lot of their efforts on the Dodgers. There were other teams in the bidding that it sounds like the Tigers kind of said, hey, thanks, but no thanks. The Brewers are the more interesting one, given where they're at, given they also have a very good and very deep farm system. There have been some reported offers out there. Adam McCalvey of MLB.com wrote a very informative story. That offer didn't include any pitchers. So even though they were potentially willing to give away 3 really good borderline top 100 position players, I think acquiring some pitching, specifically upper-level pitching, that could help the Tigers in the major leagues this year was pretty important in the return they were looking for. I don't think anyone loves seeing the Dodgers add yet another elite-level player, but that's kind of the luxury they have, also having one of the deepest and best farm systems in the major leagues. In a lot of ways, they were probably the best trade fit for the Tigers.
Cody Stavenhagen with us right now. He covers the Tigers for The Athletic. Let's transition to what the Padres did here. Casey Mize heading west, obviously was drafted first overall by Detroit. What has it been about his season where seemingly he's put it all together? I know he's had a little bit of he's been dealing with some issues at times. I think he's only made 16 starts this year, but he's got that 2.7 ERA. What's been the highlights, so to speak, of Casey Mize's year where he's got the sub-1 whip, he's got the low ERA, and he's done it without throwing obviously overly hard either?
Yeah, it's been pretty fascinating to watch every day of Casey Mize's career, a guy who was drafted to such great expectations and didn't quite perform at that level for a long time. He battled injuries. He battled some bouts of inconsistency. And then really over the past 2 years, he's grown into something a lot closer to the pitcher he was once billed to be. This year specifically, I think the biggest thing, he just has 3 pitches going for him seemingly at all times in a way he never quite has in his career before. The splitter was his calling card out of Auburn, and there were times in his major league career where that splitter wasn't very good or got hit. He's got better action. I think he has a better feel for it. It plays better because his fastball command has improved greatly. And he's also developed a really good, what he calls a bullet slider that he's been able to land and throw with a lot more consistency. Early in Casey's career, it seemed like sometimes he would have the splitter, but he wouldn't land the fastball. Or sometimes he would have the slider, but not the splitter. And this year, he's had those 3 pitches going. He's become, his arsenal has become more diverse. He's obviously just become a harder pitcher to hit. As a result of that, he does have these lingering groin issues, and health has always been a bit of a conversation for him. But when he's been able to be on the mound, he's been really good, and he's just been consistent and efficient. He's kind of become this tactician in a way that he hadn't quite been able to unlock for a lot of his career until recently.
Cody's Stavenhagen is on the show today, covers the Tigers for The Athletic. Obviously, the Padres getting Casey Mize yesterday, part of a trade package with the Detroit Tigers. Well, what do you think? And we kind of fast forward here. Padres are obviously going to be doing everything they can to make a playoff run, to get to the postseason. And he's going to have such a critical role because of how thin the Padres are from a starting perspective. At his best, what do you think he can represent over these final couple of months for the Padres?
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, if he continues to pitch like he did in Detroit, I mean, he had a 2.70 ERA, so that's legit. The legit stuff of a frontline starter. It's important for Casey to, like I said, land all 3 of those pitches, to miss bats and strike guys out. That's something he's also struggled with at various points in his career. I think he has the highest K rate, highest swing and miss rate of his career this season. So long as he's doing that, I mean, he could pitch to the level of a, I would say a number 2 starter in the major leagues. So we'll see if he can continue to be at his best in San Diego. One of the things about Casey, that the floor has always been kind of high. He's a guy who can come out and maybe if he doesn't have his best stuff, just seems to have a knack for being a little bit of a bulldog, grinding through some outs, pitching with traffic on the bases. I think that's the encouraging thing about Casey Mize. It's pretty rare you see a real blow-up outing for him. It's kind of just a question, can he continue to pitch like the very best version of himself?
Kind of an afterthought locally here has been the acquisition as well of Gage Workman in this deal, because the Padres activated him here today. What can you tell us about Workman? I want to say we mentioned yesterday his middle name is Tater, which I find interesting. But beyond his middle name being Tater, what can you tell us about what you've seen? And I know it's been limited sample sizes in Detroit, but what have you seen?
Yeah, he's been an interesting prospect for a long time. Played college ball at Arizona State and really tooled out guy, right? He's big. He can hit for power. He has some traits in the field you really like. And I think that's why you see last year, he's a Rule 5 pick, and he played with the Cubs, and they let him go. And then the White Sox picked him up, and then he was eventually returned to the Tigers, and they finally called him up this season. And now the Padres have called him up. He has these traits and these physical tools that it's hard to overlook. He can just struggle with swing and miss. It's a big swing. There's a lot of whiff there. For as athletic as he is, I think even some of the routine plays in the field, like especially when he was in the major leagues earlier this year, wasn't as crisp or as clean as you would like to see. So one of those guys who's still got some potential, and now 4 teams have just been trying to tap into it a little more. He's an interesting player, but he's, I really think it's the strikeouts and swing and miss that have continued to hold him back the most.
Final one for me, brother, and we appreciate you taking the time to join the show. Obviously, for the Padres to make a move with the Tigers and get Casey Mize, they got to give a little bit of a return back. Cash Mayfield, Jackson Wolf, what, and specifically Cash Mayfield, what does Detroit feel like they got in return for Casey Mize?
Yeah, it's like we said with the Skubal trade, the Tigers wanted pitching. They wanted starting pitching, and I think that's part of why the Brewers deal didn't come to fruition. They targeted more starting pitching when they traded Casey Mize. My understanding is the Tigers were pretty high on Cash Mayfield coming out of the draft. seems to me like a pitcher who they're going to want to tinker with, try to unlock a little bit more, as people in San Diego might know. Like the velocity isn't quite as good as it was when Mayfield was an amateur. He's got a really good changeup, but the slider hasn't been a consistent option. So I'll be interested to see if they mess with his delivery to try to unlock a little more velo, or if they mess with the slider and try to turn that into some sort of other third pitch. And this guy's a first-round pick for a reason, so he's got some real talent, but seems like kind of that ball of clay that the Tigers might want to try to mold a little bit more.
Cody Stavenhagen, again, appreciate you taking time for us. Covers the Tigers for The Athletic as the Padres get ready to welcome Casey Mize to the mound tomorrow in a San Diego uniform. Thank you, Cody, for doing it. We appreciate
Thank you, man. Appreciate you.
All right. Thank you, guys.
All right. Good stuff there.
I get a little background on Casey Mize.
Gage Workman.
Yeah.
It's easy to question the Skubal return. Of course, we're not in the seat of the Detroit president of baseball operations. I don't know what they're looking to accomplish at the deadline either.
I'm going to give him, I mean, he did say that he felt like at least, I mean, of course, this is what they're going to say after, but apparently the Tigers thought that's the best return.
Right.
So, I mean, that is, we don't know what happened in the background. We don't know if Milwaukee was offering, just had a great deal on the table. The only thing that I would say was a little bit of surprise is that it happened on a Saturday.
Yeah, it wasn't
you didn't let
2 days out.
You didn't let this thing. Typically, do you get your best offer kind of at the last second?
I don't know. I mean,
put
it's
a
hard
little bit more
it's a
pressure
rental.
on the organizations
Because you want to make sure you don't miss. Because there's always, it takes the two to tango theory. The Dodger offer at some point could have been pulled. They might say, "Hey, this is the offer. Take it or leave it."
But I mean,
not.
like that
the team
would be,
that landed Skubal
for
is gonna win it.
Skubal.
Yeah.
It's like, can you really play hardball on that?
I agree.
I don't know.
What did Craig Stammen have to say about Nick Pivetta?
Yeah.
We will tell you on the other side. Plus, we're giving away those tickets coming up in the next 15 minutes to see Luke Bryan and Jason Aldean. If you want tickets, it's a 4-pack of tickets to see Luke Bryan and Jason Aldean. Amazing giveaway. You got to use the TalkBack mic. Open up the iHeartRadio app, search for 760, click the red TalkBack mic. Tell us your name and why you want to see Luke Bryan and Jason Aldean August 16th at Petco Park. That's next on Schaefer and Sliwa. Another miss, Alan. At final time, Alan. Today, Schaefer and Sliwa. Do you want to hear from Craig Stammen? Because we will in a moment.
Yes, if Brent, who is making it happen in the background, whenever he's ready, we're ready.
Also, we need to give away tickets to see Luke Bryan and Jason Aldean, and we'll do that coming up. Let's, in fact, do that right now. Guess who the winner is. Did you hear that, or did you just tell me?
I did not hear it.
You want to guess the name?
Mike.
Incorrect. Richard.
You're so close.
Richard, congratulations. You're going to see Jason Aldean and Luke Bryan August 16th at Petco Park. 4-pack of tickets.
Yep.
Ridiculous giveaway. Tickets at Ticketmaster.com. All right, let's hear from the manager of the Padres on both Joe Musgrove and Nick Pivetta.
Yeah, Joe came out of the outing really good. First game back in a long time, so a little bit of rust, but also, was able to do what he wanted to do and accomplish pitches-wise. Nick's was went a little bit differently. We all saw him walk off the mound. Looks like he felt a little bit of tightness in his elbow, but then he was also able to, catch his breath and then go throw 30 pitches underneath the stadium in the batting cage. So, take that for what it's worth. We'll find out how Nick feels tomorrow. Same with Joe. Find out how they feel tomorrow and then reassess and then go on from there.
It's kind of your point, the tomorrow factor.
What a weird situation.
Very weird.
I mean, listen, we'll wait to see what happens, but, obviously that can't be a great sign. And he went on, he said a little bit more there about Pivetta that you just don't know. What if Pivetta felt a little something, got a little scared, right? Like you're trying to be so perfect with the situation. He understands what's at stake. He understands the time of the year that we're at. Like there's no more time left. And obviously his situation is different because of his contract. Could there have been a situation where it's like he felt something, I'm not going to screw with this right now, went back, kind of got a chance to catch his breath. Yeah, and just went from there. But however you want to look at it, that's not a positive sign, right? Like the Musgrove thing, we can wait and see what happens, see how Musgrove feels tomorrow. But any pitcher that's in a rehab start and reacts the way Pivetta did and has any pain in his elbow, nobody's going to be sitting here saying, well, you know what, everything looks good. You know what I mean? The
unfortunate part of this is the end result. We all know what it's going to be. Not necessarily now, but Nick Pivetta cannot avoid probably what's played out in his elbow.
Yeah.
It's like you can't put it back in the tube. It's like you have an elbow injury. So there's nothing that can be, you can wait on it. At the end of the day, you have an elbow injury that he's been dealing with. So can you navigate the rest of the year and help this team?
He's in a tough spot, and I think for him at this point, it's like right now, I don't really look at Nick Pivetta, and I'm not even looking at what he can do for the San Diego Padres. It's like, what can Pivetta do for himself over this stretch here just to give himself a shot? That's kind of almost the same way you feel from Musgrove. As much as you want to see Joe Musgrove help the San Diego Padres, there's a piece of you just want to see Joe Musgrove help himself. The man has been freaking rehabbing for a long damn time. So, obviously for both of these guys, I think it's tough to depend on either one of these players, but you feel more confident about Musgrove. And if you'd asked me that question a week ago, I probably would have felt more positive about Pivetta because at least we saw Pivetta 4 months ago.
Think about this today as we sit here having this conversation. This is very realistic. The Padres may have 0 of these pitchers in the rotation next year. We don't know. Nick Pivetta.
Yep.
Joe Musgrove.
Yep.
Michael King.
Absolutely.
He's on a 1-year deal. He can opt out. Robbie Ray or Casey Mize.
Right.
That's insane.
Yeah. And
I'm trying to think what certainty they even have when it comes to the rotation.
You can even go, you can add Walker Buehler.
Walker Buehler you can put in there.
Sure.
The contract status of Randy Vasquez, he's under control. Mm-hmm. I don't see that as necessarily a positive, unfortunately. But, think about that.
Yeah.
Your top 6 starting pitching options are completely uncertain.
That's why, when we have the conversation about the Pods, and we'll see how they do tonight against Arizona. I know this sounds stupid when I say it, but is it kind of a must win? Are you really falling back 3 games? But that's why there's always that conversation about a little bit of desperation with this team. And those that were making the argument of, hey, sell the damn thing. Just try to get some assets for a lot of these players that you just named off that are not going to be part of the Padres next year. I understood the position there. They decided to buy. They went 8-1 going into this stretch. And again, when a team is trying to win today, you can't be a game out of the wild card and then just sell. Like I don't think that's when you're in a winning mode. Miami can operate differently because there's no expectations.
Right.
Like there's certain franchises that are Philadelphia can't. Philly's like, we got to go in. Arizona's got to go in. And Padres were in that, obviously we're in that position as well.
You bring up the point about tonight, by the way. It's like, do you got to win the game? I mean, there is going to be a point where like you can't allow these teams to get out to like what can be the deficit at one point. You don't want to put yourself in a position where you're going to have to play perfectly. Like I go back to 2023. They were well out of it. They went 17-2 over a stretch in September, but it was too late.
Maybe that the final weekend, and I think they needed Miami to lose, and Miami won that Friday or Saturday or something like that.
Yeah, they needed a lot late, but the point is like you want to do everything in your power not to require a 17-2 stretch to get to the postseason. We're not at that point, obviously. They could lose today, be 3 out. They could win the next 2 games, be 1 out. But after the deadline, I tend to agree with you. This idea that like, hey, you're supposed to be positioned now to make the postseason. So you should be playing with desperation. You should treat tonight's game like you got to win the game.
Can I tell you something? What's crazy about watching them play over this? Now, the competition wasn't as good. Arizona's a legit playoff team, right? The potential of being a playoff team. They were playing desperate against Miami. They played desperate against Colorado. They played desperate against the Giants. Now, can you play that desperate for 2.5 months?
It's hard. It's hard.
Now, part of that desperation was also calculated because of the trade deadline. So at what point do you now just kind of go back to, well, now we got to play the next 2 months. We don't have to play the next 2 weeks. They played the final 2 weeks leading up to the trade deadline desperate.
It has to have it.
I don't think you could continue that for 2 months. So
I agree. And by the way, this stretch, Arizona, Houston, Milwaukee is the stretch you're in.
So
right
now real competition.
Yeah, exactly. You're playing up after playing down for the better part of a week and a half. What a show. I didn't necessarily think that the day would be about Pivetta and Musgrove, but that's the whole point of the rehab outings. Like, how are they? This was the true test. They can have a nice 3 months getting ready for this. This was the true test. And did they pass it or not? We don't even know on Musgrove. How will he feel? That's what Craig Stamage just told us. How will they feel in 24 or 48 hours?
I do think, moving forward here, now we're going to start getting back into more of the weeds of baseball and finding ways to see if the Padres are delivering on the field or they're not, because nothing else can be done in the front office.
Nothing else.
And whatever happens with Musgrove and Pivetta is under nobody's control. So,
all right, Casey Mize pitches tomorrow for the Padres, Robbie Ray on Friday, and tonight's game 2 of a 4-game series. We're back tomorrow at 3 p.m. Kevin Acey, our Padres insider, will join the show. If you missed anything today, go to sportssd.com or the iHeartRadio app. For Brent and Alan, I'm John. Keep it here. Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app.